So we start to say how much we love Joe McKenna. Okay. Not yet?
Yes.
Welcome to Chick Chat Comedy Podcast. I am Patty Rossborough. I always forget to say that. I'm here with Carrie Carabas, the beautiful Carrie Carabas.
Oh, Patty, thank you so much.
And we have two fabulous guests. First, I will start with a man I know from
Blast from the past.
30 years ago.
Easy.
Danny McKenna is here. He is the manager, or was the manager of Rascals during the comedy heyday.
Boom.
When the comedy boom was...
When Coke was flying out of hookers' asses all over that place.
When the feuds, the fights, the Coke, the booze.
The
Danny
hookers.
McKenna knows those stories. Okay. And we have, speaking of booze and Coke.
And hookers.
And hookers.
Really?
We have Peter Bales.
A guy
ladies
who
and
didn't
gentlemen.
do any of it.
I didn't do any of it.
Peter
A glass
Bales.
of
But
wine
I-
every now and
Bales.
then. I used to
A glass of
love
wine.
working at Rascals because Danny was the guts and the glue behind Rascals.
You really were.
Well, thank you, sir.
You kept the comedians in line. You kept the audience in line.
He always kept his composure too. Anytime you were always like calm.
That's
the
right.
calmest guy there.
on the outside.
Yes.
On the outside.
The thing about you, and I always feel this way, whenever I'm working in a club and you are left to the wolves, there is no security, there's nobody telling anybody to shut up. I always think of you, and clip, you'd be walking, someone be like, yelling stuff out. I just hear clip, the shoes are coming down, and you were always dressed up. Clip, he would pick up. This is how I get rid of him, right? You'd pick up the drink.
I do.
And you
I'd
would
get
walk
him out of there
out.
somewhere
with
You
the
would
drink.
walk out with a drink, and these drunks would get up and follow you
'Cause they have their
upstairs
drink.
because they want the drink. That was so genius.
The best thing was the bathrooms were upstairs. And after you told
Yes.
somebody to be quiet, if they were really drunk, if you told somebody to be quiet, within 5 minutes, they had to go to the bathroom.
Then they couldn't
So
go back down.
instead of like trying to get them out from that room of 400 people, it's all
yeah.
tight. somebody
Yeah,
could
that
get
was a
hurt,
big room. It
I'd
was a
wait till they go to the
basement.
bathroom. Now they're upstairs in the bathroom. Now it's like, now you're out.
Right.
Now-
Yeah, and
now
you always
there was
had-
always bouncers up at
You
the
had
doors.
big bouncers
Yeah.
to back you up.
But it was always funny because I'm the one throwing them out.
Right.
Yeah, the shortest little guy in there.
So I'm
How tall are you?
Well,
How tall
really-
are you?
5'2.5".
5'2", and what about with the hair?
5'7".
That was a good
No,
one.
your hair was bigger back then. You've got great hair.
Well, Rudy used to always go, Danny's crazy. He'll just wait till the biggest guy is in the room and then pick on him.
Yeah.
But you know what though? You weren't afraid.
I know.
No.
Why is
You
that?
had no fear. You don't have to be big to. When you have no fear, you have no fear. You don't care.
Well, the
And
secret
plus
to
a
Danny's
drunk-
success, his secret was he didn't care what anybody thought about him.
Correct.
Comic,
Why
audience
is that?
member, you didn't
I had
care.
to run the club.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
it. That was business.
Right.
That was just pure
Because
You've
business.
seen a lot
The
of
Magnuson
shit.
brothers were so organized.
Yeah.
Wait,
Mark was a great teacher. Mark knew how to run the place better than anybody.
Oh yeah, Mark. And then
Mark
Drew was in the kitchen. Drew
Yeah,
scared
yeah.
me. Drew used to yell.
you have to go through the kitchen to get in.
Oh, that's
there.
right. You have to walk down this
through
way.
the kitchen.
And I remember once asking Drew to get if I could have some food because they always fed you and it was always really great. But you
Right.
had to ask Drew at the correct time, and if you didn't, your head would be bitten
No,
off.
I don't blame him.
And
I know
chewed
what
up.
it's like to work
Yes,
in a kitchen.
exactly.
Don't fuck with me when I've got 90 orders in front of me.
That's what he-
Can I get chicken finger? Go fuck yourself.
That's how
Well,
he-
I got paying customers.
Everybody used to stand. I'd have bouncers behind me as I was throwing people out. Okay? So there's one guy, I remember once, the guy looks at me and goes, "Oh, you're real tough with those bouncers behind you." And I said, "Sir, if you would like me to admit you can beat me up, I'll admit that as long as you'll admit that I could beat you in a game of Scrabble, okay? We're even. Right?
He's an idiot.
We're even. Now get the fuck out of here."
Can you fight though? Could you Can you?
Too, but you're going to get in trouble for that. I had
You
bouncers
never punched anyone the whole time you were the
No,
manager there.
no.
Oh, wow.
It's hard because they'll sue you. But you know what I loved about? Let me tell everybody what Rascals
Yeah,
was.
please
You
do.
walked into a restaurant,
Yes.
a beautiful a bar, and then the restaurant was to the side. Down these steps, there was a 450 room,
400.
400 seat comedy club.
350 to the major headliners.
He's not even
And-
kidding.
But the food was delicious.
Great food.
It was like
Right.
he was very talented in the kitchen.
I used to have
Whatever you
comics come
ordered.
in from New York who weren't even working there just
To
to
eat.
get something to eat.
Yeah, it was, and it was packed. So if you were doing well with the crowd, there would be like a wave of laughter. Everyone was just packed in, just set up right. They were right next to the stage, like everything you want in a comedy club. Low ceiling, shoved up
The
to the
laughter
front.
was like,
packed.
pow,
It
right in
was
your face.
It was the best place to work.
But
Low
you know
ceiling,
what? But-
great club.
You know what I love though? They treated you like you were special.
Yes.
You didn't have to pay. I don't think we paid for our food.
No, you didn't.
Drinks either.
We
Drinks-
didn't pay for food or
Nothing.
drinks. We got treated like royalty, like
Yes.
we were the stars.
Royalty?
I did.
Well, Danny would say, "Come on, keep it moving up there." I didn't
Now
feel like
let me tell you
royalty.
something. The Magnusons loved me.
Well, of course, you walked around with midriffs and your hair in pigtails, so of course they're gonna
I
love
had
you.
fun with them.
They were cute. Those were some cute boys there.
And
And then it
timing was everything, too. I mean, I actually knew every comic how much time they should actually do in order to keep the show running good.
Oh, so you would
remember
cut
it was-
people back, or
Well, I remember it was like Friday night after the guy worked on Thursday. He said, "How much time do you want me to do, Danny?" And I go, 23 minutes. He goes, 23? I did 25 last night. 20 at 25, did 23.
That's hilarious.
We
But
should- it was a
you've
truth,
had
though.
some.
Yeah.
It
You
really
guys
was.
had some intense people like Kinnison.
Yeah.
That must have been.
We should tell
wild.
some rascal stories.
what are the
Kennison
rascals?
was
They're
great. Now,
incredible.
Kennison was great, and it's
To
funny.
me,
I
he's the
recently
funniest
saw-
guy ever.
I recently saw a podcast with Joe Rogan and Leno. At the end of the podcast, Leno's putting Kennison down like he was like the worst thing to happen to comedy and stuff.
What?
It was really weird, but the story's more or less how he ruined the comedy story. He brought a gun in there and he shot a gun off and everything. And I only remember Kennison as the sweetest, nicest guy. At the end of every show, he'd walk around with $100 bills and give it to every single employee there.
I heard that. All the waitresses
You know?
used to
Yeah,
say they
he
got
was
tipped out
Bartenders,
$100.
everything. Yep.
I thought he was a sweetheart. I
He
met him
always
here
was.
at the comic shop. The first time I saw him, the funniest act I ever saw.
Hilarious,
He
hilarious.
would take me down to what's that place that was down there? What the fuck's the name of the one that was
The Turtle Brook
No.
Motel.
Anyway, I'd go to the other club.
She
and
can't remember anything.
It was so fun to be going
that
with
place.
Sam Kinison into a club because he was like the funniest guy around.
Yeah.
I thought. Now, what about when he was working Rascals? Do you remember the period like when he was with Jessica Hahn? That was kind of his big drinking.
Oh, he was
period.
back. He was with us then, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what was going on with that? Was Jessica Hahn his girlfriend or what the
She
hell?
never came down there or anything. No, that was something
Oh,
to
she
do with
didn't-
Stern and partying and stuff.
Oh.
He might have dated her a little bit.
Oh.
But I've seen other clips of him just saying, me and her had fun together. That's about it. It's over and stuff like that. But she kept on haunting him with this, that, and the other thing.
What do you mean? She
know?
wanted to keep.
I don't know what the story was with her and him, but it was, it was short. It was short-lived. Okay, that's all it was. It was. I mean, Sam partied with everybody.
He
Right.
did.
I don't know if
He
you
did,
saw
he
some of those.
did.
I mean that.
I posted that picture of you and him. I thought that's so funny with you two drinking and leaning into the camera.
He did the wild thing.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
I
the beginning,
remember
beginning of it's him and Rodney. Next thing you know, he's playing bands. Mitchell Walters is in that. Alan Stevens is in that. And he's just a wild man. But in the long run, he drank a lot.
He did drink a lot.
I used to tell people, I go, he drank about 3 gallons of Absolute a night. And they'd go,
Are
oh,
you
come on.
kidding
I go, come on. I go, well, it was more like 4 gallons. I just say 3 gallons to make the story
No, he
believable.
drank. He
but,
drank.
so how? But then, if he's drinking that much, would it affect his shows ever?
Coke.
Like,
Coke. He's just doing Coke along with it. So
the Coke takes
It
off
levels
the.
it. Yeah, it levels you off.
It was leveling out. I don't know. He never ruined the show. Never.
Did he ever have a bad show? Like, did
There-
people ever not think he was funny? Like
there was
in the
a
beginning?
time. What happened was he was down at Shore Club,
Yeah.
and his brother he just came from the funeral of his brother. Okay, his brother committed suicide.
Oh, I forgot
and he
about
was in
that.
Chicago for that, and flew right from Chicago to the South Club,
Okay.
and he has to go on stage, and he's out of it.
He's
at this point.
distraught, right.
He's, drunk, distraught, you name it, And Alan Stevens and Carl LeBeau actually had to sit on each side of the stage while he was up on stage,
Just
in
just in
case.
case he falls
Yeah.
over or something.
Yeah,
or other.
yeah.
But Sam got up there and, all right, folks, my brother died and this and that, and they're laughing a little bit, thinking, it's comedy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're believing that, oh, this is true. He's really telling the truth. And all of a sudden, he says, so I just want to raise a glass and have a toast and let's party! And went into his show.
Wow. Now, Carl LeBeau, I always call him Carl LeBeau. If it's LeBeau? LeBeau. He traveled with him. They were like thick as thieves.
Alan Stevens, too.
But then there was that whole thing with Carl's wife having a baby that didn't look like him.
Oh, wait, that was supposed to be his.
It's supposedly it is. It's Sam's kid.
It's Sam's kid.
So Sam Kinnison's kid?
Yes.
Why didn't they do a DNA?
They did. Eventually they did. I'm pretty sure after Sam was dead, though. Carl's married he has a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
With his wife.
But
he's paying.
Right, I get it. But hold on a second.
Yeah,
so
go
if
ahead.
this is Kinnison's baby,
Yes.
then because he has no other kids, right?
No.
So this is the heir
Heir
to
to
all the money.
Money.
I don't know if there was any money
He had
at the
nothing?
end.
Well, who got money? Did
Sam Kinison, did he have money when he died?
supposedly no.
Supposedly no.
No, and his
Who
brother
said that? His living brother?
His only living brother.
and his brother has rights to everything. If you want to do anything about Kennison, you got to go through his brother.
Yeah, I met his brother. He's a real businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got to get residual still from all the movies and stuff.
But I heard
he's
he didn't
done.
die with any money at all. You know?
But
Could be from giving $100 bills to waitresses.
If you see a little kid wearing a trench coat, you know it's Sam's kid.
if you were to see a photograph of this girl, she's like photograph. It's like Sam's head on a girl's body. I mean,
Get out.
She's adorable though, but she's got his face.
Is it
And
really?
She looks
His
just
daughter?
like him. And
Oh God!
so Carl divorced his wife after, but didn't everybody have an open? Wasn't it all open anyway? Like
wasn't everybody fucking
everyone was
everybody?
fucking everybody. I thought that was like what it was.
I don't really know what went on in California, but like when everybody was at Rascals, everybody just seems to be best friends and stuff like that.
Really?
Carl's wife was always with him when they were there.
Was with
Okay.
who? With Sam?
With Carl.
Oh, with Carl.
And them. You know, Malika and Sabrina, the two sisters.
Oh, and that was before the one became his wife, right? He had the two sisters he used to bang,
Yeah.
and then one married him, right?
Malika. Yeah.
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 That's nice. Bang both sisters and then marry
You got a
one, and then
problem with
wonder
that?
why she cheated on you.
Sibling rivalry. I heard she didn't go to the funeral or anything.
I
the
never
wife.
heard anything about
Oh, you
that.
didn't hear that? Oh, I read the book.
Carl-
You're with the only two women in the country not paying attention to current events and the changing attitudes towards sexual harassment. The only two women who haven't heard about
So
that.
he had two girlfriends. What's the big deal here? And they were his sisters, so that doesn't make it wrong.
He was so charming, though. It's weird, like.
He was. Really was.
He was so fucking charming that it shit didn't bother you. You know, it's like, oh, that's your girlfriend and that's your sister. Oh, all right. You know, well, he was so funny. Like,
but he was funny off stage, too, because Mark was always a pretty nervous guy, okay, about...
Market Rascals.
Yeah. And Kennison knew this. So Kennison used to be sitting in the parking lot and call Mark on the phone and go,
Just fuck with him.
and go, all right, Mark, we're leaving Atlantic City now. We're going to be there. You know, freaking the fuck out. And Sam's sitting in the parking lot in the car laughing his ass off.
I used to do that all the time.
You did?
I still do it. I'm like,
So mean.
they'll call me and go, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm home. Like, we have a show. I'm like, no, I don't have a show in my book. Well, let me get my book. Get mommy's book. And meanwhile, I'm out in the parking lot, right? Do I not
You
do
do that, yeah.
Well, I remember the best thing that Sam and me had one time. I went to the Just for Laugh Festival, okay? And that's everything. You ever been up there for that?
Yes.
Montreal.
Okay.
Nasty show. I
So I'm like being introduced as a comedy club manager from New Jersey. Nobody could give a shit. So they're like this. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing, right? So I didn't care. I knew a lot of the comics were up there, and Sam's supposed to come into town.
Right.
So I'm sitting at the bar by myself at the Delta after everybody goes at the end of the night. I'm sitting there by myself. Sure enough, Sam walks in, and he sees me and makes a beeline right towards me,
Right.
sits at the bar with me. Every eye in the room is on us because Sam was so
Now
popular
they're
at
like,
that
who
time.
is that guy?
Yeah, who's that guy with Sam? I'm
Now they
maybe
all
I'll introduce you,
wanna
maybe
be
I won't. Okay? You spit on me for a week, now you want to know who I am. You
That's
know?
what I mean. Everybody loved that guy.
Yeah.
He was the funniest.
And he actually said, he goes, I'm not up here for money and deals, I'm up here to party, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody was trying to approach him about deals up there.
And what was the thing? I'm going to ask you a question in a second. What was the thing with Dice and him, though? What was the big feud? Like, they were both like the biggest at the same time, right? Is that
The
whole
media
Andrew
kind
Dice
of put them into that. The same with Bob, what was that guy's name? The Screamer.
Oh, yeah, Bob
Goldthwait.
Goldthwait.
Yeah, Bob. They put
Bobcat
them
Goldthwait.
against each other. They thought they were similar because they both like were screamers, him and Kennison.
Yeah, they're completely different.
Completely different. And
Yeah.
all the media put them against each other. Next thing you know, they're starting to hate each other only because of what media did. I don't know if you ever heard the Stern. There was a really good argument on Stern.
What?
Well, the funny thing was, Kennison and us used to drink till like 6 o'clock in the morning when he was there.
You can drink like that?
Yes. Easy.
You don't have any place to put it. Where are you? How are you drinking that much?
I'm Irish.
You're
I
Irish,
learned
yeah,
since I
Oh,
was
that's
2.
right. You could do it. You could do it.
So what happened was Sam would leave Rascals at 6 o'clock in the morning
Right.
and go to do Howard. Okay?
Yes.
So we all know we'd sit around in the club listening to Sam, drunk out of his mind. And one time Howard called Goldthwait, and next thing you know, the two are just fighting like you don't believe. But Goldthwait's as straight as an arrow, and Sam's drunk as can be. But I think the media just put them against. They didn't even know each other.
But the whole dice thing, I
think that was real, though. The dice
that
thing.
was real.
I just
They
think
hated each
I
other.
don't even think they probably even met.
I
You
just
know?
remember
no,
them always
of course,
fighting.
they
and
were
fighting
always
and
at the
Stern.
Comedy Store together.
They were?
Yeah.
I didn't know they ever worked together.
They were there every time I was at the Comedy Store. Kinnison was there, so was Dice, so was
Probably
you know,
probably just a feeling of who thought who was better.
right.
You know, that's all it came down to.
Who was your biggest seller there? Who was the
Both-
one who sold
both-
it?
both of
those
them.
two?
Yeah.
What about girls? Any girl headliners? Not a lot of women there.
There was.
He's like going blank. Wait a minute.
We had
Wait,
that
there's
one
wo-
in
there's woman comics?
1974.
Danny was a big supporter of female comics.
Were there any women female
you know, the one with the big
headliners?
tits.
One time, Tony Camacho sent a guest on a weekend show.
Oh,
A
do you know who
beautiful
this
blonde.
is? Do you know who the guest is?
All I remember is what happened.
Okay.
Okay,
Tell
so
the
it's,
story
it's a
first.
beautiful blonde that
You're not going to
that-
believe who
Wait a
this
minute,
was.
guess.
Okay, well you tell me.
A guest set.
Well, like a guest set, and Danny does not, and I agree with him. Doesn't think there
On a
should be
weekend,
guest sets
he's
on a
putting a
weekend.
guest set?
So Camacho, the booker
of the-
sends a guest set, and
He's
she's-
he's a hound
and
dog.
she was beautiful, blonde, and Danny is so mad because it's a packed weekend show.
I didn't like having a guest spot on
No,
a
you
Friday
don't
night.
know what
And
you're
he's
gonna
kind
get.
of
You're blowing a 3-man show.
He's
Okay, that's all you're doing.
Storming around backstage, and the girl goes up, and it's bad, and it's really bad, and Danny's flashing her, and he actually gets so mad she's not responding to the flash. He gets on the backstage mic.
No, you got
Yes,
that wrong.
I was there.
That's the wrong one. But go ahead, try to finish the story. You
No,
remember?
No. Okay. You got on the backstage. I remember. I was hosting, and you got on the backstage mic and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, how about a hand for whatever her name was?"
Maybe I did that.
Yes, you did that.
Yeah,
I was
you
there.
did. I remember you doing shit like that.
That's intense. Who was it? Who was it?
Chelsea Handler.
Get the hell
That
out
was
of here.
Chelsea Handler.
Get the hell out of
Yes,
here.
that was.
Chelsea Handler.
When he said not funny, I
and-
kind of figured.
And the thing,
Oh my God! I can't believe I just said that.
and the
I
thing
like her.
was, here was the
I
thing.
don't. I've never seen her stand.
I've never seen her stand up either.
I didn't like guest spots at all. They usually, not that they were bad acts. It just ruined that 3-man show that was always there. It just threw timing off like you don't believe. So I always noted that they threw it off. So Tony calls me. He wants to put this girl in as a guest spot. I was like, Saturday second show only. Okay, I'll be able to deal with that. And I forget the 3-man show, but I knew it was a
I was there.
It was a good show. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock second show. She doesn't show up till 10 after 11. So I'm a little pissed. I'm going, listen, out of
She's
respect,
thinking, right.
out of
She can-
respect, we're giving you a show, and you show up late.
She always
so
would do
Peter
stuff
had to
like
go
that.
on stage at this time, not knowing who to put up. Are we putting up the middle act, or are we putting up
Right.
the guest spot? Normally, the guest spot would go right after, you know.
Right, right.
So she shows up late, and she comes walking into the green room. Hey, I'm Chelsea Handler. And I look at her, and I go, yeah, and you're late. Okay, go back out and sit in the showroom, and I'll tell you when you're on. You know?
I didn't remember that it
That's
was her.
Great.
She was at.
She was new. She was really green.
She always
She was
thought
from
she was hot
California.
shit.
She was from California.
Pretty.
Tony wanted to give her
Very
a spot.
pretty, right.
Okay, so the funny thing was she's doing horrible. Okay, not only is she doing horrible, then she starts blaming the audience. Oh, you people from Jersey, you just don't get it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh,
Biggest
my
mistake a
God.
comic can do.
That's
don't,
what
don't
it
blame
is.
the audience.
400 people.
But the way I remembered, I go over to Peter and went, she's not dealing with the light. So I go to get up on the stage and grab the microphone out of her hand. He's standing there by the side of the stage
you
going,
do it?
I can't. He's going, I can't do that.
I can't. He got on the back. He got on the backstage mic, and I've never seen that before or since. But that really
Wow,
happened.
that's
That's
bad.
Danny
Usually-
McKenna.
Sometimes you could just turn the mic off on him.
Only on Mulroney as a goof to get him off the stage. Mulroney, and even if you shut the mic off on Mulroney, he'll still go.
Well, Chelsea Handler was in. The guys at Montreal told me that she went up there to do a show when she was just becoming hot, and she shows up so drunk that they didn't know what to do with her, and they're like giving her coffee and doing all. She shows up late. She shows up drunk. And they give her coffee and they do all this stuff. They push her out there. She does her show. She does good. And then she still got deals. Like, how do these people just fuck around like that, Carrie Carabas, when you're on time and we're on time?
I was early today.
Yes.
Well, the funny thing was, too, she winds up writing a book. And in that book, she trashed Rascals.
She
It
does?
was the worst club she's ever been to.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but she got thrown out. Now, the funny thing was, so after she finishes, Peter's MC, and he takes the stage after her, and he comes back into the green room. I go, Peter, is she out there? And he's like, yeah. I go, is she crying? He goes, no. I went, I'll put a fucking end to that. And by the time I got out there, she was gone.
You
So
know
she
what?
never played
She's
again.
probably the only comic that's ever bashed that
Yeah,
place
exactly.
because that
Yep.
place,
That was the best club.
even your
Right.
the showroom was fucking
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
You that showroom had
I liked that room because it was only a 300-seater. And
right.
that was so much easier to control.
But you guys had like all this vintage stuff,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool
that was
stuff,
cool.
and you could buy it. It was the White Elephant. What was it
Yeah, yeah.
called?
Yeah, the White Elephant
White
/
Elephant.
Rascals.
So you'd
yeah.
go eat, and while you're eating, you could look up on the wall and go, I
Oh,
want that
I bought
metal sign.
I bought these little things with Simpson figures in them for $75. I
Now,
suck
the funny
'em.
thing is with Bales here, he happened to be there through so many of the weirdest
The
times.
weirdest things, because I used to host
Okay.
a lot. We can tell stories.
What's the weirdest story?
Tell the Teddy
Because
Bergeron story.
Teddy Bergeron.
Wait, who's Teddy Bergeron?
Oh, I know Teddy Bergeron.
Yeah, supposedly he had done a lot of Carsons, and
He had done
I-
a couple of Carsons.
Yeah.
He was from Boston. He very talented, very smart. Horrible drinking problem. And you know how
But
some
supposedly
comics,
he was on the wagon at the time he came to Rascals.
Oh, that's
Right.
what they all say.
Yeah.
but you know how some comics kind of sober up, like Sam Kinison, over the course of a set.
Right.
He got drunker after he went up, and Danny was trying to cut him off, but somehow he must have gotten upstairs or something, and he went up.
That's
and,
John Fox.
And,
Yeah, I worked that
well,
night
John
with John
Fox,
Fox.
we can talk about
That's
it
another
later.
story. Yeah.
But yeah, I introduced him. It was packed. It was me and Bergeron, and then the great Dennis
Yes.
Wolfberg.
Wolfberg, yep.
And right away, you know, Danny's in the back, I'm in the back. We go, oh my God, he's drunker than we thought. He's repeating jokes.
Yeah.
He's incoherent. There was an awkward silence in the audience. And the joke that he repeated was, I just had a penis transplant and my right hand rejected it. He does that joke the first time. He does
actually
that.
think it's
He does that
funny.
joke the first
Well, he
time.
was funny. On Thursday night when he was straight, he was actually
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
He does that joke the first time, but the audience realizes he's drunk, so it's an uncomfortable silence. One guy yells out, "Get off!" And he keeps going, and we're in the back going, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" The aforementioned Tony Camacho was sent up to the side of the
I sent him.
Couldn't have been so the most awkward thing I've ever seen in
Yeah,
comedy.
yeah.
The whole 400 people quiet. And Tony, and the last thing Bergeron said for the second time is, I just had a penis transplant and my right hand rejected it. So he did the joke twice and in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And come on, Teddy. And Teddy got off.
Tony had to go up and put
Tony
his
was
arm around him.
but Tony
on
was a
stage.
big
Sad.
guy. Tony was pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
Tony's head is gigantic. He has the biggest head. Also,
Oh, it's the tongue, for Christ's
biggest
sake.
tongue and biggest woohoo.
I don't know
According
about
to
that.
one of the
According
But,
to-
one of the
According to
girls,
who?
one of the girls who banged him, not me.
All right. So
One of the comics. Anyway,
So listen to this. So I have quiet, awkward, 400 people, and I have to go up
Back
right
up.
after this. So what I did is I started whistling, walking across the stage really slowly, like,
Yes, it was so perfect.
and I went right to the microphone and I said, "Listen, folks, I just had a penis transplant. And my right hand rejected it." And the whole place
Yep.
that's
exploded.
a
Yeah.
great. That's
It-
And the
it
reason
was-
the reason they exploded is because they want their Saturday night to work. They want
Yeah.
to have fun. They're on
Yeah,
your
yeah.
side,
Yeah.
you know. And I
Yeah,
did
but
some time.
I had never been more embarrassed in my life. 400 people in the audience just realized Rascals fucked up here.
Rascals put up a
They
really.
put a major drunk on us.
Now let me, Dennis. So I did some time, and the crowd's back, and I bring up Dennis Wolfberg. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He walks to the mic, and the first thing he says is, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just had a penis transplant. My right hand rejected it. That was the 4th time we did that joke, and the place exploded, and he did great, and he was so wonderful.
Well, I remember I found him. I'm looking for. He did great on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, I can't find him for the first show.
Oh, no.
Okay, now I heard he was an alcoholic, reformed, and everything like that. And I find him in a booth with his head down on the table. Okay, and there's drinks in front of him.
Nice.
And I'm like shaking him. Teddy, you're on, man. You're on. No, I had probably only been there about a year at the time. I just got back from the VA hospital. They gave me some painkillers. I'll be all right. The guy can barely even talk. So I go in the back where Camacho was. I go, Tony, Teddy is like drunk out of his mind. Tony goes, well, Danny, you don't know these comics. You know, they get drunk, but once they get on stage, they're straight as an arrow. I go, you've been watching too many Dick Van Dyke movies, man. This guy's fucked up.
Did you let him go up?
We had no choice in the matter for time filler or whatnot. We didn't know what he might do. So when he gets on stage, in the first 2 or 3 minutes, the audience is thinking he's just acting like a drunk, and it's funny.
Right.
So I'm going like, this might work.
Right,
yeah.
This might work. And then
Maybe 5
people
minutes.
people start realizing how drunk he is. And the line to me that when I had to get him off was, he actually goes, I was at the bar earlier. And somebody in the audience goes, no shit.
Danny, tell them the Walt Willey story.
Walt, oh my God, I can't believe you. Okay, I know Walt
soap
Willey
guy.
worked on a soap opera. He was
I know him well.
He was the most unfunny comic. May I say this?
He
Is
still
he a friend
packed
of
him
yours?
in and everything. No.
He was he was very good looking. He had frosted hair. I mean, good looking in a soap opera way. Like, you
Which
know.
show was he on again?
Like gross in real life.
Yeah, I can't remember which
Days
one.
of Our Lives?
And he got a fucking guitar and did a guitar act that blew so hard. It was so bad. And he came on when I hosted with Jon Stewart on Short Attention Span Theater, and they go, "Oh, you're going to be interviewing Walt Willey today." I go, "Walt fucking Willey from the soap opera?" And they go, "Yeah, he's real. We hear he's funny. He's funny with the guitar." I'm like, "Oh no!" So he comes out and he's talking to me, and he's like doing one fucking bad joke after the other, and then he brings out the guitar and he starts doing these horrible song parodies. And you know, like when you're like trying to fake life, you go, I'll kill myself. It was so painful. Okay, so tell you what Willie's.
I don't even know what
All
he's
right,
talking about.
you're, chime in when you recognize
Okay.
this. Okay. I'm opening for Walt Willey, and the place is packed because the women loved him. 395 women, 5 wimpy guys who were forced to go by their wives.
Yeah.
And they love the guy. He can't do anything wrong. So I go up, do 20, bring up Walt. So I'm up there 15 minutes, and I get a note from one of the waitresses, stretch. Okay? So I stretch 25, 30. No problem. It's a great crowd. 35.
Walt's nowhere to be found.
He's not there.
God,
He's
no, I
not.
remember this, yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
there. And then
He's
I
not
get
even
at
there.
40, like going on 45. I get a note. Take an intermission. So I know something's messed up.
He's not there.
So I get off stage and I go in the back, and Danny's on the phone, and he's stuck at the studio because they were apparently.
Yes. Remember it well now.
He was stuck at the studio. He couldn't get there, and we waited. We thought he was going to get there. Then we gave up, and they piped him over the loudspeaker
Yes.
to tell the women how sorry he was that he
Yep.
couldn't make it.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
But it was not loud enough, so they didn't get it.
No.
So I get sent up on stage, and I have to explain to 400 women
That love him.
that who love him that he's not coming tonight.
and then
And you know what
I'm
it was?
the only
It wasn't
one.
that they couldn't hear him. They heard him, but they thought it was
they
part of
thought
the
it was-
comedy bits.
They thought
they
it was a
thought he was
bit.
gonna come
He,
out
act-
of
He's
the door.
he
explaining.
actually explains, I put the phone system through the loud, speakers. And he's actually explaining, I'm stuck in the studio. And they're just sitting in the audience laughing, going, this is funny.
He's going to come barreling out.
He's not there.
So 400 people think they're going to see Walt Willey, and I have to go up and tell them they're not.
Did they stay then for you doing comedy
Well, I
after
was
that?
done.
Nah,
I was done. I
show
did
was over.
45
Did
minutes.
45 minutes.
And,
I mean, now what?
And
Did they all got their money?
I
money
announced
back.
they the cash and they're handing out money.
Oh, yeah.
But this when I said, ladies and gentlemen, Walt will be, you get money back. He's very sorry. And I get off stage. As I'm walking towards the back, this huge, she was got to be over 6 feet, woman grabs me by the lapels, goes right in my face, and says, "I'm gonna
Bring
beat
me
this."
on.
No,
It's
she
Judy Gold.
goes, no, she goes, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." She blamed me. I'm not
The
I-
messenger.
I haven't been so scared in comedy. I was the messenger. I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Well, we're
know,
following Judy Gold, by the way, okay?
Yeah.
And I saw her last week, and I go, okay, I have one memory of Judy Gold.
What, at the show?
At Rascals one time. She finishes her set. Now, you remember the hallway in the back. The soundboard was there, which I pretty much stood a lot.
Yes.
And she walks past the soundboard. Now, mind you, she's 6'7", 6'8". I'm 4'9", and she stands over me and she goes, "I'm gonna fuck you to death. After this is over, I'm gonna fuck you to death."
She was so funny.
So how was it?
She always had those comments that scared the shit out of you. I remember that when they closed Rascal, I literally felt ill.
I felt the
The
same
one in
way.
West Orange, or did you ever work the Montclair one?
I worked both of them.
You worked
all
Montclair?
three of them.
Yep. Oh, so you did work Montclair. Did you ever
Yeah.
work Montclair?
I worked
did.
Montclair,
I liked
but my
Montclair.
favorite was the main
West
one.
Orange.
West
Yeah,
Orange
West
was the
Orange
best
had
one.
When they
Magic
said they were
acoustics.
closing, I just was so sick. I was like, why? Because
What?
that fucking guy.
You were fired
Yeah.
by then.
What
Yeah.
fucking guy? What fucking
Ed
guy?
Rodriguez.
What
He-
happened
they
with Ed
brought
Rodriguez?
him in as a
took
partner.
it. He came in and took over, and he just spent all their money. Took the club public and stuff like that. There was no money left. It first started with the comics check started bouncing.
Oh, that's what happened to me.
Okay.
On New Year's, I go, where's my check? Oh, that's right, that's that guy Ed. And he goes, oh yeah, we can't pay you right now. No, wait, who was it? He goes, we can't pay you right now. I go, what are you talking about? I just finished New Year's. Now I can drive home. He goes, oh, we'll send you the check. I go, no, because I had heard about bounced checks before that. I go, no, you're not sending any check. I go, I want my money now. And he goes, well, we can't give you your money now. We don't have enough money. I go, there's 400 people downstairs. There's a full restaurant upstairs, full bar. There's fucking money to pay me my money. And I was a bitch, and I got my money.
That's why women don't work Rascals.
Well, I remember Rob Bartlett was there one time, and at the end of the gig, I go to give him cash, but they wanted a check, okay? And I go to give them cash, and they're going, no, we want a check. I'm going, do me a favor. This is when Mark was gone and Rodriguez was there. I go, no, do me a favor, take the cash.
Yeah.
Well, I go, do me a favor.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I go, take the cash, okay? So they did, right? 6 months later, they performed there. He never got paid. Took him about 6 months to get
Wow.
paid.
See, that
Now,
You
wait,
know?
what was the reason why they brought him in?
A mis-
They were tired.
Nowhere near. They were
The
tired.
boom
They were,
was
they were,
over.
They were there
Let's-
20-something years.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was like constant.
And
It was every
Rodriguez
night.
comes in and basically talks to Mark about bringing the company public and selling franchises around the country. And we're going to take the company
Make
public.
millions of dollars.
Yeah. You know.
And instead he fucked him.
You fucked him
I
bad.
saw the prospectus when they went public.
Yeah.
In 5 years, there will be 600
Yeah,
Rascals
yeah.
comedy clubs across the USA.
And
It
that
was
was
a
the end
big-
of it.
big
It's so
mistake.
tragic.
They opened up one in Florida.
Yeah.
I think they were in Arizona for a really short time.
Yeah.
And one in Springfield, Connecticut. Okay.
I would have loved to have gone in as a partner and gotten rid of that Ed guy, and I would have helped run it. And I
Yeah,
would have been
you would have been good.
He
living
sold
in
it behind
Jersey
everybody's
now.
back. That was a really
The
crazy
rumor
thing.
was that
But how did he have that kind of power?
He eventually bought everybody out.
Who?
He
Ed-
bought
oh,
him-
He bought Drew's end.
Yeah.
So he paid him.
Drew basically
He
had to
got
decide
money.
whether he wants to stick with the club and go public and sell stock and everything,
Yeah.
or Ed will just buy him out.
The
Okay.
rumor
Okay,
was he
so
really
wait.
wanted Rascals Comedy Hour tapes.
Well,
make money off that was more valuable than the club. That can't be true.
Well,
No,
you know,
no.
you know what?
Eventually, we thought it was. Me and Rob Perner took the Rascals Comedy Hour tapes to Sirius Satellite Radio.
Yeah, and
Okay?
did they buy them?
We sat down there in a big meeting and stuff like that, and Sirius was just getting started, and we thought, not for nothing. We got
You got a
400
lot of
hours
tape.
content here,
And you had
know?
Chris Rock too when he was, you know.
Well,
You did that. I saw one of those videos of Chris Rock, and I'm thinking, whoa, these guys are lucky because they did Rascals Comedy Hour back when people weren't big yet. And then they became big, and then you sold the tapes because
like,
I actually wrote.
we never sold them.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, well, my manager had me write down on my contract. Tom Ingenio said not to be used after 6 months. So, in other words, you could put it on Rascals Comedy, but you couldn't use it after that. But
Oh,
most
you
people,
had that, though.
What do
It
you
was
mean?
an open-ended contract that people signed, which nobody ever thought about.
It was
back
sneaky
then,
talking in there.
Nobody really thought about that back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
They just signed it.
Yeah.
There was only a few people that actually came in and said,
There were huge people on that show.
yeah.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell. Now,
Rosie
Rosie
did-
O'Donnell.
Rosie
Here's
did
what
it.
happened.
I have a list.
Rosie
That's the list
O'Donnell
right
was
there.
in love with you. Is that correct?
Yes,
Peter Bales.
it is true.
And then
was
he
this
And-
went gay.
And
Wait.
I honestly kissed Rosie O'Donnell in a romantic way, and she pulled back and
believe
said,
he's saying
"I've made
this."
my decision."
That is not true.
She
Yes,
was
it is.
actually on the
I
show.
mean, I did. I mean,
No, what do you mean? Now, wait a minute. So, how old were you when Rosie O'Donnell was
I
hot
met
for you?
Rosie when she was lying about her age on the lower end of things. Probably she was 16, came into the East Side Comedy Club.
16.
16, and she came into East Side Comedy Club in Huntington to join our improv group, the Laughter Company. And she said she was 18, but she was 16. And she was, I have to be honest, she was incredibly talented.
Yeah, she was.
Incredibly-
She is funny.
She is
I have to
funny.
admit,
We
she's
do
funny.
have to give her that.
You have to give her
When she did a
giant.
She's
VH,
crazy.
she did a lot of VH1 stand-up spotlights recorded from Rascals,
right.
And she was on top of her game like you don't believe.
Yeah, she was
You know,
really funny.
I thought
You
she
know?
was great.
So-
You know what I think Rosie should do? I think she should get back to stand-up.
And help
It would
women
be a triumph.
comics.
It would be a triumph if she did. She has so much talent people don't realize.
She just keeps getting herself in trouble by
Yeah.
talking about a lot of things.
I admire that, though. in
Yeah, I
some
know.
ways.
She's very political. I agree. But, you know, she has some crazy ideas.
I like Rosie a lot. I can't help myself. From the beginning to now. I
Joey
just do.
Joey Kohler got me tickets one time for one of her last tapings.
Yeah.
I took my sister, my niece, and my mother to the show, and I'm sitting at the show, and it's all lesbians in the show, and the girl sitting next to me is like, "We're going to ask Rosie to come to our pajama party tonight."
What the fuck does that
God,
mean?
So I look at her, and I happily say, so I happen to know her, pretty well, and the girl looks at me like, "Yeah, right." So all of a sudden I go to commercial, and Rosie's sitting down there, and she's like, "I hear Danny McKenna's here. Danny, stand up. Where are you?"
Aw.
Hello, sweetheart. Do you believe me now?
So wait a minute. I'm not letting it go with Rosie O'Donnell in love with you. So she's gay, or you don't know if she's gay yet.
Well, when I met her, I don't think she'd sorted that
Knew
out.
she was gay yet? So she was 16.
She had a
and
boyfriend who was in the military?
Are you kidding me?
No.
And,
All right, she wasn't always.
And did you like her?
Yeah.
You did?
Well, she was 14 and he was 27.
No.
I
was a little bit older, but-
Greenfeld
And
says,
you know-
Kissed her?
he remembers when.
Are you
the
kidding?
Downs
Are you
got-
kidding me?
What?
Do you know
What did Sam
Rosie?
say?
Rosie,
Dale.
you're thinking of the current Rosie.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Well, what was the 16-year-old Rosie?
She had her wingback hair. She was cute.
Yeah,
She had
Sexy?
long
she
hair.
she was cute.
Skinny?
She is cute. I wouldn't say skinny, but she wasn't. She was, and you know what used to turn me on?
What?
She was so amazing.
Anything?
Well, I used to get turned on by her improv ability, and I know that doesn't make any sense to anybody.
No,
Talent.
women like talent.
No,
Women
Men like talent. I was
and
watching
men
her.
and women like
I was
talent.
watching her, and she was with another great improv actor, Dave Hawthorne,
Yeah.
who is one of the best on the planet in improv,
Yeah.
and she'd be in an improv with him, and I would actually be watching it, getting turned on. That's how into comedy I was. I can you tell I've been in therapy for a long
No, I
time?
like it.
I was, and she, I can tell you, she deserves her success because
No, I agree.
she has
I think she's
the talent.
Also, I like that
And she was so
has,
nice, too.
She's so balls out and doesn't give a fuck about anything. How about when she goes after Donald Trump all the time?
Yeah.
She, like, on The View, she used to push her hair up
Wait
and
a
go,
minute,
"Duh,
but
duh, duh, duh."
she hated him from The Apprentice.
She hated him forever.
He called her.
Yeah, but it was
What did he
great
call her?
publicity for both of them.
Yeah.
He was coming on The View once, and she had looked him up and read all these things that were, like, so politically incorrect that he had done when he was on The Apprentice. And then she just started making fun of him. And then after that, he can't have anyone
What? You mean he
make fun
called
of
her
him.
fat or something?
Oh, he called her
Oh, he was
fat.
bad to her.
He's
yeah.
just horrible. And then
Yeah,
she
but
would
now
just
he's
keep...
president, so she probably really was like, no.
Oh, I think she loves it. I always see tweets by her.
I think she's
that
got
she goes after him.
guts.
She loves
She's
it.
got guts.
I agree.
One time we were putting together an order for the show, and her sketch was not in there, and we're waiting for the show to start, and she comes over. I'm playing Asteroids. That's how old this story is. Remember Asteroids, the video game? And she comes. That's not that funny. And I'm playing.
Adam's
like asteroids. That
We're
what
older.
an asteroid is. All right.
You got a young producer.
Yes.
Now, so I'm playing Asteroids. I was actually pretty good. And she comes over and she goes, I'd really like it if my sketch could be in there. And I go, well, we don't have room for it. And I'll never forget, she rears back and punches the game on the side, and it went dark. And the thing just went bloop and went dark. And I turned to Rosie and I said, all right, we'll put it in.
Was she that strong that she could?
She's tough, and you know
Yeah,
what?
well, she's a Long Islander, New
Yeah.
Yorker.
She's got
Yes.
guts.
so
Irish,
she's
blue
not
collar.
taking shit from anybody.
She speaks. She speaks. I really admire her for speaking out against the National Rifle Association, literally taking her own life into her hands for having that kind of guts. She has guts.
Her family's a little fucked up with the kids, and what's all that about? I don't know.
Well, I feel for her.
Yeah, but
because
comics should stay away from that stuff. I mean, Johnny Carson never talked politics from his show, never talked religion from his show. You know, he just stayed away from that
You gotta
stuff.
stay away
Well,
from
it depends on the
I don't
comic.
know. I
It
feel
depends
like-
on the comic.
I feel like sometimes I don't know. I mean, you got to have a lot of balls if you're going to talk politics and you're a comic because you're going to lose half the people.
Right.
In the if you're going to
Right, even Amy Schumer, she did a show. She started bad-mouthing Trump.
Yeah.
And the whole 200 people got up and
Walked
fucking
out.
left.
Yeah, but it's
But
you're
look at
talking
all the
about
people who
somebody
stayed,
who
you know?
becomes famous. If she has her own show, she can do what she wants on her own show. And
Yeah.
also, when she's that famous, she would speak out, off stage and
Yeah.
not on the show, and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Anybody should be allowed to
She's
speak
a big
out.
liberal.
No,
voice.
I'm not
She's
saying
a-
they
she's a
shouldn't,
liberal.
but if you look at, somebody as successful as Carson and Letterman, who really never came out and said that stuff.
Well,
Letterman got a
Letterman,
little bit
you
towards
could-
the end.
You could tell he was a liberal
Yes,
and didn't
yes.
like Trump
Well-
very much. But as for comics now, I never do politics on stage. Why would I want to lose half the audience?
Right. But-
I don't even say if I'm a Yankee or a Met fan. I don't want to lose, 1/3 of the audience for the Mets.
Well, I remember something in comedy as far as stand-up. Peter used to do this bit on, I was a teacher. Can you guess what kind of teacher I was? Okay?
Boy.
And this is something I used to teach the other comics. So people used to scream out geography, history, this, that, and the other thing. And he would go, who said driver's ed? Now, nobody ever said driver's ed. At least he was
They
smart
never
enough.
say drivers.
No,
Yeah.
but he
He
was
would
smart enough
pretend he
to
heard it.
pretend that he heard it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'd see other comics do that, and if they didn't hear it, in their head, the bit was just over. And I'm like, are you an idiot? Just pretend somebody
Just
said
fake
it.
it.
For Christ's
Okay,
sakes.
so I want to read a comment.
All
Dan, do you know Dale Greenfeld?
Yes.
Okay, he said he was there when
It's a woman.
I
Dale.
can't see. Okay,
Okay.
I don't think I've ever met her.
She was a waitress there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
she-
then I gotta. She said she was there when the check started bouncing, and she
Okay.
loves you and me. Thank you, Dale.
Aw.
I thought it was a guy, but that's okay because I can't see.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and so people love
George
the.
Saltz. George Saltz is watching. Can I just say, I was at the Comic Strip Christmas party last night. George Saltz did a song that he wrote when he was 16. And I don't know how old George Saltz is, but he's older than me. And it was fucking hilarious. And the
Oh.
Comic Strip. Oh, by the way, we're live from the Comic Strip. I should say that. Wait, I want to see if anyone else wrote.
Wait, here's what I want to say. When we were talking about drunk
Glenn
comics,
Farrington. This is making my day.
Who?
Glenn Farrington.
I was
No,
just
I
talking to
don't
him the
mean
other night. He gave me
drunk
a really
comics.
nice compliment.
Let's go to the drunk comics.
Wait, Glenn Farrington is a great guy
Yeah.
and a great progressive voice on Facebook.
Yes.
okay.
Now, he gave me a compliment the other night. I was just, shocked. I was sitting there going, wow. He said something to the effect like, Danny, you were the only guy on the opposite coin of the comedy end that truly worked for us. And this,
You
that,
did.
and the other thing,
Yeah, you know what?
You
That's
did.
true.
That was really nice to hear.
You
No,
really did.
I know.
But
That's nice.
let's go to the drunk comics.
Drunk comics.
One of my fucking favorites that I worked with all the time in Vegas. Every time I was in Vegas, it was me, Craig Robinson, who became a fucking superstar.
Oh, yeah, with the organ or whatever he
He
played.
was always trying to pick me up, and I was like, fucking idiot I am. The guy is
You had so
loaded
many
up.
chances, Carrie. There were so many guys who
I was
wanted to
like,
bang
no, I'm
you.
not interested. He's like, oh, you're so fine. Now, he's a fucking multi-million gadillionaire. Anyway, but Don Gavin,
One of my best friends.
my fucking favorite comedian
He's so funny.
of all fucking times, would go on stage. Now, in Vegas, you do 3 shows. By the midnight show, you're wasted. He was drinking Black Russians.
Well, it was basically 3/4 vodka and a splash of
Milk.
splash of Kahlua,
Oh.
just
That
to make
was
it look
it.
like a Coke.
That was it. And so he'd get up there, and he's got that heavy Boston accent, and he does these jokes that are fucking hilarious.
Yes.
And then by the 3rd show, he would forget the punchline. And he
I
would
never
just,
saw him have a bad show because I drank it. Never.
and then he'd get off the stage, and he goes, "These cocksuckers fucking out, fucking laughing." I go, "Don, you've missed you didn't do any of the punchlines. You'd start the joke and then go into another joke." He was one of the best.
yes.
Still is.
I went and saw him just a couple months ago down at Borgata.
Oh, you did?
If you ever get a chance and you see the name Don Gavin, go.
I'll tell you a funny story with
I
him.
will laugh every fucking show
he
with
tells
this
me
guy.
he's going to write a book or something or other, right? And he says to me, "Who's your favorite comic?"
Who is
Okay?
your favorite comic?
And I didn't, and out of the middle of my mouth, I just went, John Knight, okay?
Who's John Knight?
Funny guy out of Pittsburgh. And so
You know?
what happened was
I do.
It was always a thorn in Gavin's side that I had said John Knight.
To his face!
Compared to him.
At least fucking lie to him to his face.
Well,
Down the
Well,
inside,
he
you
probably
think John
thought he meant to not besides
I was friends
me.
with Gavin from the minute he walked in the door. From the
I
minute
loved
me and
him.
him met each other,
Right.
we just liked each
I
other.
love him
okay?
so much.
Matter of fact, I worked with him one weekend, and the following weekend, he invited me to his wedding. I'm going, okay. We got pretty close.
Yeah.
So it was always a thorn in his side that I said John Knight above him.
Right.
Okay. So every single year, he, say something to me, jab me something about John Knight. So one day he calls me. He goes, Danny, I'm looking and I see your guy John Knight's down in Tropicana in Atlantic City. He says, I see he's down there. I was thinking about going to seeing him, and maybe you want to join me. Oh, wait a minute. I'm headlining that show.
Very good.
Yes.
And I had to go
he
down
is,
and see
he's
that show.
brilliant.
you know?
Now he was considered the
Godfather of Boston
of Boston
comedy, yes.
comedy.
Right.
That's where Tom Carter got his style. That's where
Lenny Clark.
Lenny Clark.
Who was considered the Godfather?
Wendy
Kenny
Liebman.
Rogerson.
Wendy Liebman style.
Oh, yeah.
They all their comedy, his style of comedy. You know what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah,
they
yeah.
lead you one way and they say something else.
Yeah.
I love the Boston guys. I
The
love
Boston
working
guys have faced tough. I was up there for a year,
Uh-huh.
and I knew Bobcat when he was homeless. He was starting out. He was living in a Boston College dorm.
Are you kidding me?
No, right?
Yeah.
You know,
You know what Stephen Wright used to do to me?
What?
He'd call me up about an hour before showtime and say, can I come down and do some time? And the reason that was he didn't
Why?
want me publicizing he was going to be there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was going to do new material.
Oh, yeah.
And he just wanted to go on stage not knowing that he was going to be there. And it was great because you had 30, 40 people unsuspectingly see pretty major superstar.
But now when he would
just
try
walking
new,
in.
was it funny? I mean, or was it?
He didn't really care. It was mainly along his dry sense of humor and stuff.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
funniest
well,
ones
it's
was
probably funny.
It-
Very funny because when they say,
you could hear sometimes the phones ring at Rascals. I remember he was on stage and you could hear the phone ring, and he went, "That's not for me." And he walked up. He walked over to the piano and he hit one key. Okay, and he comes walking back to the microphone, and goes, "I wrote that."
So stupid.
I went up to Stephen Wright once, and I think it was backstage at Rascals, and I go, "Here's a great joke for you. I just bought an autographed picture of." No, I just bought a picture of the Loch Ness Monster, and I know it's authentic because it's autographed. And he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, right." And he walks away. But he's so
Stephen Wright, I
smart.
don't know
and
him.
so
The-
Stephen Wright is
You know of his comedy, though, don't you?
yeah, his comedy
yeah,
is
yeah.
brilliant. He's a really nice guy.
My favorite Boston comic now is Christine Hurley, which I'm going to say because she is do you know Christine Hurley? Fucking hilarious. I got to put a girl out there for all the Boston.
But no, the Boston guys are so funny. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because drugs are involved. But who was the guy? I
Go
never remember
ahead.
his
What's
name.
his name?
Who was the guy? It was
Sweeney?
his gun to kill Freddie
Oh,
Prinze.
that fucking guy.
Nobody can ever remember his
Alan?
name. Yes,
Alan?
Alan Bursky.
Bursky, that always bothered
Oh, my
me.
God.
I met him at Rascals, and he goes, "Hi, my name's Alan Bursky." I go, "Nice to meet you." He goes, "I'm the one who gave Freddie Prinze the gun." I'm like, why are you fucking telling? He was
That was a
so
claim to fame for
that
him.
was his claim to
That's
fame.
what
What an asshole!
No, his real claim to fame was he was the youngest comic ever to appear on Johnny Carson.
He was like 19 when he
Okay.
went on Johnny Carson.
So I remember going up to him. It was him. I forget who was middling, and Lenny Clark headlining him. I go up to him and I go, "All right, Alan." I says, "You do 15 minutes up front, you do 5 in the middle." He goes, "Well, if I do 20 up front, and then I go, you do 15 up front and you do 5 in the middle." And he goes, "Yeah, but if I do 20 up front," I go, "You're down to 10 up front now. You want to go for more?"
If I do 20 up front, well, if you do 20 up front, you'll never be here again.
You know,
Wait. So anyway, the guy that was working with him, which I never mind, he's jonesing me for coke. This is the funniest line I'd ever heard. He's jonesing for coke all night. He's trying to get me to get him some. I point to Bursky and I go, I go, why don't you ask him? I said, he used to be a fiend. And he goes, but he'd ruin the high.
He was the most annoying guy. I remember I worked with him once at Rascals, and he was emceeing, and
Always.
and he would go, like, he would always use there was a phone somewhere, and he would call, like, long distance all the time on their phone. Like, this is before cell
From the green
phones
room
and everything.
Or from the stage?
Not from the stage. It was like backstage. Maybe it was at the other place that wasn't Rascals. One at there was a phone upstairs, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just making my phone calls here. I don't have a lot of money.
Ireland.
And he'd make all his goddamn long distance phone calls. Fucking Alan Bursey was like such a little weasel.
Well,
you
do
know?
you remember the phone calls that Sam used to make from stage?
No.
She remembers that.
No,
You want to
what were they?
talk about some funny stuff.
Why? What would he do?
He basically talked to the audience
Sam
about
Kinison.
He basically talked to the audience about a girl breaking their heart.
Right, and then he'd call the ex-girlfriend up.
Then he'd say, "You got their number, pal?" And somehow or other, we patched in the phone number going to the girl. Okay, and
Over
I remember
the entire
I remember the
audience.
first one that we did, and it's like 12 o'clock at night. Okay, now Sam just killed. He's kind of ending with this, and he gets the girl on the phone. And the guy, he asked the guy for the story first, and the guy says, I was dating this girl, and she wound up fucking my cousin, and this and that. And Sam's like, you got her number, pal. And Sam calls her. Now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is going on stage. Everybody in the audience can hear it. This woman answers the phone, and Sam's like, is Jill there? And you could tell it was her mother. Jill, yeah? Yeah, this is the radio station. We want to talk to her. Hold on. And this girl answers the phone and goes, yeah, this is Jill. And he goes, hi, this is Sam Kennison, and we're here with Ira, and he was just telling us that you fucked his cousin, and you're a drippy slut, and you can go fuck yourself. How do you live with yourself, you dirty man? And at this point, 400 people are going out of their minds, standing on top of the tables. Hang up on her! Hang up on her! That became a regular bit for him.
Yeah, but you know what happened to him in L.A. with that?
What?
He's in the main room at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And he's up there doing that bit. He's got a beer. He's drinking. He's walking back and forth. He's a little drunk. Yeah. And he gets the guy to call. He calls the girl. He goes, hi, this is Sam Kinison at the Comedy Store. He goes, yeah, is here talking. All of a sudden, he goes, well, I'm sitting here with so-and-so. You're a fucking whore. Yeah. And he does this whole thing. The place is dying.
Yeah, it's great. It was great.
Hangs up on her. Goes into his routine. She fucking got in her car, did 100 miles an hour, gets to the Comedy Store. Nobody knows anything. I'm watching him on stage. She walks past the table, goes to the stage, grabs a bottle off the stage, and wails it at him and hits him with it.
Are you kidding me?
No. And then she's like, fuck you. She attacked him. It was the sickest thing. They restrained her. They threw her out. I thought it was part of the act. I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
So
He
great.
really he's going real, he's going really far with this. Like, he's actually got someone coming in. And they're like, this isn't an act. This is real. She's really the girlfriend.
Yeah.
He told her, I'm at the Comedy Store,
Well, that's what I loved about him is that, he completely broke the fourth wall. Like, for a long time, it was people like, Bob Newhart, and just everybody would stand there and talk, and he would do, like, crazy shit. He'd go into the audience. He'd go into people's
Well,
faces.
crazy Lenny Schultz was the fucking craziest guy.
Crazy
on.
Lenny Schultz.
I worked with him many nights.
What's it now? Here's the weird thing. I always remember the weird stuff. Lenny Schultz was dating a woman, broke up with a woman. No, he's dating a woman. She has a daughter, a teenage daughter. He starts fucking the daughter. You remember
Yes.
this?
No.
Oh, you don't you don't remember
I
this?
don't.
Yes.
He starts fucking her daughter. Then they become an item, and then he breaks up with the mother. And the daughter would go around. This young girl would go around with Lenny Schultz, who was
And
like
show her
in his, and he'd go. We could go to the
I've heard
audience.
of that.
What do you want
Yeah.
to see? Pigs or tits? And of course, the audience would always go tits.
Tits.
And then that would be the girl's cue to show
What was her
tits.
name? Sharon.
Yeah, and she was with him for a million fucking years.
Sharon took our comedy
but
class.
she did not.
She did.
I know who Sharon
She
was,
did.
but I don't remember
She's
her
very
ever showing
nice.
her tits, though.
And she
yeah.
Okay, let's
rescues
explain
cats.
who Lenny Schultz is. Lenny Schultz had about
Laughing.
1,000. Yeah, he started on Laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
He's about 90 now, isn't he?
He's in Florida.
Should be.
Is he doing comedy?
He's on Facebook.
He's on Facebook. I have a classic Lenny Schultz story. Somebody booked him at a snobby country club on the
When
North
was this?
Shore,
How
Long
long
Island.
ago?
Like
Back in the day?
Back
All
in
right.
could have been the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
Who books Lenny Schultz for a snobby country club on New Year's Eve? But he's there.
It's all props.
And he walks
he's
out.
throwing
He walks
shit.
out
Yeah.
on stage, and there's a drunk woman right down front. He walks right over her and says, "Lady, sit down and shut up, or I'll rip your tits off." And these like 4 guys start coming after him from the back of the room, and he just looks at them and goes off the stage, out the door, into the parking lot, and goes home. That was his one line in the whole show. That's a classic.
Now they would say to him, "Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this," and that he would open with.
That would make him want to do it more. I remember
Part of
that.
his bits, too, was he'd always sit there and about every 2-3 minutes, you got to scream, "Go crazy, Lenny." The more you scream,
yeah, that's
"Go
right.
crazy,
Go
Lenny,"
crazy,
the
Lenny.
crazier I
Right.
get.
Yeah.
And he used to do this throughout the whole set.
was begging, really.
Okay, yeah. You
Say
got to
it.
scream, "Go crazy, Lenny."
crazy,
And I'm
Lenny.
standing back in the back of the
But
room.
his face, you see his face, "Go crazy," like he was out of his mind.
And he
but
constantly
but
repeated it,
He
you
had
know?
about 3,000 props, right?
Yeah, yeah. But so I'm standing next to the people in the booth, right? And he's constantly going, now mind you, it was only about 30 or 40 people in the room. He's not selling anything. And he's still doing it. You got to say, "Go." You got to say it. Every time you say it, I go crazy. And I hear this guy next to me go, "Go crazy, you old fucking man. You go fucking crazy."
Now, but
Lenny
he
Sch-
used to get the crowd screaming.
Lenny
"Go
Schultz, legend has it, suspended from the original improv for deliberately throwing up on stage.
What do you mean he
He
deliberately
jerked off
threw-
on stage once.
No,
I
that
did
can't
hear
be true.
that.
He
I heard
jerked
that.
off
I did hear
on
that,
stage.
too.
I heard that.
I heard
And
that.
he goes, "And I punched my cum."
That can't be possible.
He told
How
me
do
the
you
story.
punch your
I
cum?
did
You
hear
mean
that.
mid-air he punched his cum?
Mid-air, he punched his cum. He was sick in the fucking head.
Yeah,
but
there was something wrong with him.
he was supposed to be the father of Mork and Mindy. He was supposed to play Jonathan Winters' part.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, what
Okay.
happened?
It was him and Jonathan Winters, and then they went with Jonathan Winters.
So
Well,
wait, tell me
and-
about
and I
this.
wonder-
That
I
really
think-
tops
uh,
my throw-up story, Carrie.
I did a
I
throw-up
did throw
story.
up, and you did come.
Right, well, it was a
That's
true,
You did top it.
Yeah,
it
you
is a
topped
true
it.
story.
But
I'm
what
amazed.
happened with this girl Sharon and her mother? I guess her mother and her never spoke to. I mean, how do you fuck your mom's boyfriend?
I don't know, but I saw her tits
Very
more
carefully.
than anything.
What do
She
you
had
mean you never
good
did?
tits. She had good tits.
I
She's
used to
very
open-
nice.
I
She
opened
took
for
our
him all the
comedy
time.
class.
And what did she do besides
she
show her
owns.
tits?
At what point? How many cats do you have before it becomes uncomfortably weird?
4.
Yeah, she had 12, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why Lenny fucked the crazy into her.
Yeah, I remember all your line. You used to say something to the effect like, "Did you ever see your? I saw my father naked." Somebody said, "You ever happened to you?" And that was you, right?
Yeah.
And you'd say, "Yeah, that happened to me. You saw my father naked."
Oh, yeah, that was so stupid.
Now,
I forgot I did that whole
Wait.
thing about, because I did see my father naked.
I actually
Ew.
I
I
did
know.
a bit to Farentino, not Farentino,
I can't believe you
Farrington.
remember. I don't even remember that bit. That's from a million
Well,
years ago.
It's so funny. Every now on Facebook, what I'll bust people's chops with some of their old lines.
Oh, that's so
and they're
funny.
like, "I forgot that line altogether. I've never
Yeah,
even
yeah.
know I did that line."
I
Why
want
don't
to
you
tell a
remember
great
that?
Danny McKenna story at
Please
Rascals.
do.
I want to hear this one.
Only you would do this. Everybody would want to do it, but only you did it.
Right.
You know, every guitar act, and I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about John Joseph, that before they get their guitar, they go up and they try to do regular stand-up.
Right.
And some of them are good at it, but every time when they pick up the guitar, they take their act to another level. It's just funnier
course. Yeah.
with the guitar. So
Yeah.
John Joseph goes up, packed house, and he's doing his stand-up, and it's fine, but he's going to kill when he goes to get the guitar.
Right.
But he's doing like 45 minutes of stand-up, and where's the guitar?
People want the
bring
guitar, yeah.
Danny wanted the
You
guitar.
got the wrong person here.
Danny, no.
but Another guitar act, not
No,
John Joseph.
It was.
Steve Rizzo.
Are you sure?
Positive.
He walks to the side of the stage and he yells and
Danny does.
Danny walks to the side of the stage and goes, "Pick up the fucking guitar!"
You got that wrong.
I was there.
You
I
were
would never,
always there.
I
I would
was. I
never do
worked
that
there a
to
lot.
John
You did
Joseph
work-
because John Joseph always picked up the guitar. John was complete pro. He always knew when to do what he had to do.
Yeah.
But Rizzo, a lot of times, didn't want to use the guitar. And he needed the fucking guitar. Okay, I'm sorry. He
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
it, okay?
I love John Joseph.
So he was okay to listen to me from time to time. So I said, I'll tell you what. When I
Okay,
give
I
you the
remember that.
light, I want you to pick up the guitar at that
Yeah.
point. Which he was okay with. A lot of guys go, "Fuck you." But I said, I'm watching the audience. I'm watching how they're
You
behaving.
know when they're getting tired.
Yeah. So
Are
I
you
give him
sure, Steve Rizzo?
Yeah. So listen to this. So I
Okay.
pick up. So I put the light on him on Saturday's first show.
Okay.
And he immediately picks up the guitar. Has a great set. Second show, I tell him the same thing. Okay. As we're close to the end, and I want to put the light on him for the guitar.
Yeah.
I put the light on him. He says goodnight.
Oh.
I go, this son of a bitch. I know he could have done this. I know because he got the light. He has to say, Danny gave me the light to get off. So I'm standing there, and he says
Get
goodnight.
back up there.
He's standing there, walking off stage, and he's like, 15, 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
And I'm like so fucking
get the
pissed
checks
off.
down and
so I'm
everything,
standing
yeah.
there by the microphone in the back, and I'm sitting there going, this motherfucker, man, he just fucking screwed me.
Right. So now you got to say something.
So I went, just hit the volume on my mic real fast. Steve Rizzo, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to see more of Steve? Do you want to see more of Steve? Yay! And he had no choice but to go back up there and plug the guitar in.
Oh, that's fucking good.
Tell them how Rascals almost went out of business because of a lawsuit from a Gallagher show.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
We didn't come
Okay.
close to go.
Wait a
We
minute.
didn't come close to going out of business.
Wait a minute. Before
No,
you
we had a lawsuit.
Before
Yeah,
you talk
yeah.
about Gallagher, I worked at a club this week. I won't say where, but Gallagher was there the week before.
Which one, the brother or him?
No, the real Gallagher.
Okay.
And I said, "What's he like?" And they go, "We think he might be homeless." I go, "What do you mean?" They go, "He's got long, dirty fingernails.
Ew.
He wears the same outfit both days. He's going around with
Smells.
Artie Fletcher, and his act is like."
Artie Fletcher.
Yeah, do you remember? And he's saying they say he does jokes about faggots. Like it's all like spics and fags and and he was giving them shit the whole. He's like, "What is the stage?" Like he was all mad about the stage because there were no plants on the stage. Like she said that he was like nasty, and she must start and that he was an asshole. So that's
Did he sell out?
no. As a matter of fact, he half
you
full.
on the show that night?
Half full.
Half full,
No,
not
I heard
good.
you told me about it.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, it was his brother.
Oh,
okay?
the brother
Wait,
came.
they're twins, right? Aren't
Right.
they?
They weren't
No, they weren't
twins,
twins.
but
They
they were
look-
pretty
you
much
couldn't
close
tell
to.
the fucking difference.
You couldn't tell the difference, and no audience member ever knew the difference either. Okay?
Right.
It was so much similar.
So
you
they were
couldn't believe
going
it.
to see Gallagher, but it was really
The
Gallagher's brother.
But we advertised it was funny in order to get away with it legally and everything
You say
else.
Gallagher.
It was
Gallagher
called
2.
Gallagher 2.
Gallagher
Gallagher
2.
2, yeah.
Gallagher 2.
Yeah.
So, but nobody
You're
ever
so
knew.
sneaky.
Nobody ever
No
knew.
one knew.
Okay, so I had seen him the first time. Everything worked out great. It was the second time he was there, and he uses these props, the watermelon, and throws it out to the audience.
Yeah.
You think it's a Nerf, okay? And one night he's got his big giant sledgehammer, which is huge as can be,
Yeah.
okay?
And
And
he's
that's
smashing all
solid
the-
wood, okay? And he's smashing all this stuff on the butcher block. And I'm in the back, and now he used a wireless headset too. And I'm in the back watching it this night, and he takes that sledgehammer and it flips out into the audience. Okay.
Oh,
and
my
hits a guy in the head.
With,
Oh,
I hope with the
my
blunt
God.
end.
The brother did
The
this.
blunt
yes,
end.
yes, but
Oh.
it's Gallagher per se, but it is
Okay.
a brother, It hits a guy in the head, and he jumps off the stage. At first, I'm thinking. Microphone, are you okay? Are you okay? And
I guess I gotta
That's
go out.
bleeding.
I guess as the manager, I gotta hope some guy isn't dead. You know?
Horrible.
A sledgehammer just hit
Yeah.
the guy.
So I go out there, and the guy's head is on the table.
What?
Okay, yeah, he's
Is
almost
he
dead.
out cold?
No, he's close to it though. I'm like, and he finally says yeah, and didn't want to be an embarrassment, and says go on with the show.
But he stays there.
I'm realizing this guy isn't all there.
Yeah.
So I said, do me a favor, I want you to come with me, come to the back to get you some air.
Yeah.
Okay. And he gets up and he comes in the back, and I called 911.
Yeah, that's
somebody
smart.
to check him out.
Yeah.
And they came in and checked him out and said, we're bringing him in. We're going to bring him in. The lump on his head was just getting bigger and bigger. It was
Right.
growing as I was
If
looking
it was
at
in the
him.
back of the head, it could have killed him.
Supposedly the handle is what hit him, but it was such a hard thing. The thing hit, flipped over, and the handle
And
hit
the
him in
weight
the head.
of the it's got a heavy metal
So
on it.
he won.
Asshole.
He won $50,000 through Rascals Insurance.
Oh my
Wow.
God!
He won $700,000,
Get out!
not through his insurance, through the booking of him.
Oh.
What do you
they-
mean the booking of him?
Whoever his management was,
The management had to pay $700,000.
their insurance. Yeah.
Well,
You're
well,
kidding
not
me.
Gallagher's brothers?
No.
Gallagher's?
Well, who knows what was happening with that family and how the acts even got switched to that. How was.
Do you think Gallagher knew Gallagher 2 was doing his act? 'Cause
Yeah.
sued Gallagher 2.
Yes.
Eventually
I
to
think,
stop
I
him.
think, well, originally I
fucking
think it was
weird.
Gallagher 2 was suing Gallagher 1, and Gallagher 1 went, you can have my act. and take it on the road to make up for the money that I owe.
And this
well,
weekend,
maybe it's
this
Gallagher
weekend
too that was on the.
at the Broadway Comedy Club, Gallagher's 7. That was a long time ago,
Grandchildren.
Gallagher too.
Wait a minute. Maybe the guy who was at that show was not Gallagher, but was his brother. Could that be? That this past 2 weekends ago, it was supposed to be his farewell. Crashing tour. Like, in other words, he's going to do more comedy, but he's not going to smash
You never know
things
who is
anymore.
who anymore. Who's
No,
on.
they looked exactly alike.
Looked
I couldn't
exactly
tell
the
them
same.
apart.
There was stuff. They showed me the rug. I mean, it was this big,
Well,
huge room, and there was shit all over the wall. Then they had taped up everything. They had put stuff down in the first, 20 rows. It went shot all the way back. Spaghetti does spaghetti.
Yeah, I
does-
don't
it's all-
find
I don't get
so
why
not
that's
funny anymore.
I thought it was really funny when after the show was over, Gallagher too. He's kind of worried. He sent the guy to the hospital for Christ's sake. And he says something to me. He says, I don't have any insurance. And my brain's going, well, Gallagher 1 gave you his show. So he goes, I don't have any insurance. I go, give the guy your show.
Oh my God! What about Jerry Seinfeld? He ever work at your place?
Plenty of times, yeah.
He
And,
did?
well, I'll tell you a good story with him.
Okay.
Peter getting pissed off that night.
Why?
Me?
Yes.
At Jerry?
Yeah,
Were
he's
you
my
emceeing?
He's my mentor. He
Of
doesn't
course.
know he mentored
Of course,
me.
you were
But
just.
he is. Got a great
he
Seinfeld
just,
story. I
he,
can tell
just, he just ribbed you one night, and it's fun to see Peter get mad because he doesn't actually get mad. He never yells or anything like
Well,
that.
he's
he just sulks.
he's a white Protestant.
What did he say?
He was opening up for Jerry,
Yeah.
okay, and Jerry was there a lot, and even came back after he was famous as can be. And I love working with him. He was just really.
You loved working with him?
Yeah, he was down to earth as can
Well,
be.
he's
Never-
very professional. What about, did he have, did he bring the girlfriend Shoshana?
No,
the
he was
teenager?
always by himself.
Remember the teenage girl he dated?
Matter of fact, he was always by himself. Where I had so many guys that insisted on limousines and stuff like that. Jerry drove his Porsche in from Long Island, parked by the garbage dumps, and walked in.
Oh, okay.
And he basically used to say to me, "I don't want that because I don't get a chance to drive these Porsches. So from Long Island to Rascals, great chance." But Peter's opening up for him. Okay, and they were friends. Okay, remember this yet?
I'll be talking about my therapist, and we'll work this
What
out. But
happened?
it's bad.
So Jerry is actually watching his set.
Oh,
Okay, and Jerry's not saying anything to me. We're both watching at the same time through that little window, So
Oh, yeah, that little window in the back.
So
Yeah, it was
It was
weird.
like a
You
little- it was
couldn't
weird. You
see-
could peek
the only
through.
person that could
Couldn't
actually
see
see
in.
me from the stage was John Joseph. He could see. No idea why his eyesight was 10
just
times
see the
better than
little-
It was
anybody
a
else.
mirror, so you couldn't
know?
see
Yeah.
in, but they could see out.
I mooned John Joseph from that window one time while he's singing his serious song at the end. But so anyway, he brings up Jerry. Okay, now they were friends.
Peter brings up Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jerry gets on stage and goes, "Peter, may I try on your glasses? You're still doing that bit?"
Oh, no.
and he,
And you were just walking around with your fish glasses.
because he could hurt. I mean, he's the man. For
Right.
me, he's the man.
Did that make you stop doing that bit?
Yes, I haven't done that bit
He's the
since.
man.
You retired.
I think he's.
I don't think he's the
literally
man.
a comic.
I had
genius.
a very not good time with him.
Okay,
What
but
do you
that's
mean
not
you
the
didn't have a
point.
good
No,
time
why-
with
when
him?
Talk
he
about
when
his
he was
act.
When he was famous, he brought in Tom Papa to open up for him.
Yeah.
Tom's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tom was so goddamn good at that point.
Carrie and I are like,
No,
come on,
Tom was
Tom
good.
Papa.
No, I like Tom Papa because I like
But
that.
I thought it was a stupid
I don't know, I
pick
never-
for
I
an
never
opening
laughed.
act because he got a lot more laughs actually than Jerry did.
I don't think Jerry's that funny.
Are you
He was
kidding
always,
me?
He was always the middle of the line guy.
I
No.
don't think Tom Papa's funny. I
No.
don't
Okay,
think
but
Jack-
hold on a second.
Oh, the-
Here's
All right,
this
Madam
great
Opinion.
story.
Jerry Seinfeld is absolutely brilliant. I watched him every
okay,
night
let me
for
just
2
say
years.
this. Jerry Seinfeld has the best sitcom TV show that
Right.
ever existed. Okay,
Exactly.
I'm with him 100%
That's where
on
his
that.
fame comes from.
But that first 5
Why do you
minutes
think
of his
that-
TV
that
show,
is? Why
because
do you-
Larry David. But when you see the first, and also I think he's funny and smart and all that. But that first 5 minutes of his TV show where he does his jokes, I'm always sitting with Kevin. I'm like,
Fast forward.
yeah, but that's
like
just
fast forward these fucking lame
All
jokes.
right, okay.
Those
First of
suck.
all-
yeah, but it was a
Come on,
predecessor to what
Peter.
the show was
It
going
was,
to be about.
yeah,
Cut
they
the
got rid
shit
of that. But
licking
first
his
of all,
ass.
his stand-up is so finely crafted.
Okay, I will.
The way that guy can
It's
write a joke.
crafted well, but they're not. Everything's not that funny.
Well,
No,
Do you
he's
ever
working
go-
clean.
Do you ever lean forward and go, "Oh my god"?
Yeah, but hold on a second.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he just said? He's working clean. Who gives a shit? If you want people to laugh, you don't have to be filthy dirty, but I mean,
Sinbad
You
worked
want
clean his
people
whole
to
I mean,
laugh.
life.
you're criticizing a guy who's
Ray
worth almost $1
Romano
billion.
worked clean and he was hysterical.
His stand-up, Jerry's stand-up is just watching an artist as far as I'm
Okay, let me
concerned.
say,
no.
in
Yeah.
the
It
old
is.
days, in the
Yeah.
old days, I'd watch him and he'd go, I saw him here at the comic strip. He goes, he goes, I just put the thing in the dryer. He goes, the sock, where'd the sock go? You put in two,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
comes
yeah.
out. I'm like, what the fuck is? And everyone's like,
You're seeing him here. He's working out new material.
okay, so
That-
maybe,
that
and
was
then he
the-
goes, and the other joke he did is he goes, I'm trying. He goes, you ever know the face you make when you're trying on shoes? You're like, you're walking, that face you make. I'm like,
He's
I-
working
I
it
don't
out.
find it
Here.
funny
What the
either.
I
All
got
right.
some
But
stories
I'm going to
about-
tell you a
Can I
story
just tell
about
my-
him real quick.
Yeah.
go ahead. Tell
I'm
us.
at the Comedy Cellar. Dave Chappelle's on stage.
Great guy.
Brilliant.
Yep.
He is. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes, and funny. Like you
Brilliant.
bend over laughing. The guy's funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Greg Giraldo.
Off
All right,
the
listen.
cuff. Wait. Ass bag comes down the steps.
Who's ass bag?
Jerry?
kidding me?
Jerry.
So we're in this tiny, I'm the host, we're
Yeah.
in this tiny corridor. He's filming the comedian
Oh yeah, the documentary.
where
All
he
right.
didn't pay anybody.
That's right. He didn't.
I got
fucking
credits. I got
asshole.
paid.
You got paid?
Yeah.
What'd you get? Oh, I shouldn't ask. you.
$600.
Oh, you did.
Hold on. Orny Adams got nothing.
Yeah, we're gonna get him to get paid. Yeah.
Whatever. And he's a gazillionaire.
I didn't know
He
about-
couldn't feed.
I didn't
you
know I
know,
was in a movie until somebody
hate
called
when
me and said they
comics-
saw the movie in it.
hold on. I hate when comics get famous and they forget where they came from. And they forget, like, there are hungry, starving comedians. That's, we're not making a lot of money. You
Right.
can at least, here's some money, kid.
Right.
You were the whole fucking movie. Maybe he got paid something very little. I don't know. But I heard no one got paid. Anyway, he's standing right here. I'm right here. The hallway's this big. And I go, hey, you from Massapequa? I'm from, and he goes like this.
That's terrible.
He put his hands. You didn't just put your hands in my face. He goes, I'm doing my act in my head. I no questions. And I go,
And that wasn't something Jerry had to do.
and I go, what? No problem. So now Chappelle's on. I'm not giving him the light for this idiot. He just put his fucking hands in my face. So Chappelle's killing. So finally I go on stage and I go, Dave Chappelle, and then I go, all right. I go, coming to the stage, he just stopped, but whatever. I was being a real dick. I go, make some noise for Jerry Seinfeld, right? That was it. A couple days later, I got my pictures back from France, and I'm showing my pictures to my friend, or to another, I don't remember who it was. And they're looking at my pictures, and he comes walking around, and he goes like this
He leans
to see
over.
the pictures, right? So I go like this. I go, get lost. I go, beat it. And all of a sudden, he's like, and he walks away, and they go, that was Jerry Seinfeld. I go, I know who the fuck that was.
All right, I want the audience
But
at
wait
home.
a minute.
You have to know that what really happened is Carrie came on to Seinfeld, he turned her down, and she's angry.
I was
Wrong.
there. I
Wrong,
was there. I was there.
wrong. So then that was the time where he was hanging around the Comedy Cellar and he was filming his documentary. But Maya DiGiorgio,
Yes, I know.
comedian, very talented girl, singer, dancer, comic, actress, whatever, filmmaker. She's doing this documentary called Comedian or something. I don't remember the name of it. She has interviews with Richard Pryor. Her thing was a piece of art. Okay.
What, her documentary?
Yeah.
I never saw it. All
Well,
right.
because his came in and bamboozled hers.
Oh.
So what happens? She's been filming for 2 years at the Comedy Cellar at everywhere, and they're letting her because she's filming all these great comics. She was in Montreal filming comics,
Right.
and Jerry Seinfeld, and she's dating now. She was dating this guy who was a boxer,
Okay.
Kenny.
What's wrong, Peter?
No, a
Peter
real,
doesn't like
a
this
No,
real,
I
Jerry.
teach stand-up comedy, and there's something called cutting the fat to get to the punchline.
Go fuck yourself. I gotta paint the story.
First of all, you're putting down my mentor,
I don't give a
who
shit.
never did anything wrong.
So what happens?
Yeah.
He goes to her, you're not filming while I'm filming in here. She's like, what? He comes in, bullies, goes to her, you're not filming, whatever. So she's, upset. She leaves. Jerry's sitting at the table. All of a sudden, her boyfriend comes barreling in and goes, get the fuck up. And I'm like, beat him up, kick his ass, punch him in the face. This is great. And he's like,
Look at Peter. He's so,
Next thing you know,
he's such a sad face.
The cops are at the cellar. They're removing everybody from the cellar. Jerry he was like, he must have shit himself. I'm guessing he shit himself.
Probably.
Because this guy was big.
What?
But
I want to tell
so
myself.
good.
Let me tell my Seinfeld
That's
story.
a true story.
hold
Okay,
on.
let me
It's your
interrupt
show.
for 1
No,
second.
I want no.
1 second.
Go ahead.
1 second. What is a grown man, Jerry Seinfeld, dating a high school girl named Shoshona Lowenstein or whatever the fuck her name was, and she went into with big giant tits? Why would a grown man date a high school girl?
First of all,
Explain
Danny and I
that to
both
me.
know the answer to that, and you both don't understand the answer to that.
At the same period in his life, he was dating someone like that. So was I. I don't think she was as young
But he
as her.
also took that girl from she was on her honeymoon.
No, she was engaged to get married, and it was just like
Right.
a week or two before. That's his wife now.
Yes.
I thought this is never going to last, and of course it
He
did
bought,
last.
he bought Billy Joel's house for $32 million.
He did?
Okay, wait, this gets better.
For
He
the
tells us
nanny?
on stage. He bought Billy Joel's house for $32 million
Right.
and knocked it to the ground and built another one there. He
Why?
didn't like the house.
'Cause
He
he's
wanted
that
the property.
rich.
He's that rich.
That's what you
Patty,
can
he's
do.
that fucking rich.
That's what you can do when he's not that funny.
No, listen. That has nothing to do with it. He got fucking lucky. He stepped in shit. Let's call a fucking spade a spade.
You don't.
That fucking guy.
No, look.
and then he didn't pay anybody
No, I
on
think
that
it's
fucking
great.
movie.
No, it's great that you don't hold a grudge.
And
I
he's
think
fucking high school
it's just so
girls.
great. You let it pass.
High school
I think
girls.
that's
Here,
so
let me
great.
get some stories
Yeah, go ahead,
that
please.
probably revolve around every club, but they're great stories.
Go ahead.
What happens when you have a headliner that's not doing so good and you got to switch the middle to the headliner?
Yeah,
Okay.
That happens to me all the
Listen to
time.
this. I got a few
Well,
stories
where you got
here.
switched to the headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Gilbert Gottfried comes in, and now at this point he was just getting
You
popular.
know I
but-
fucking hate him.
But not
Okay.
not everybody knew him at all. So we bring him into Rascals because we heard things about him. Okay.
Yeah.
Billy Guerin is the middle.
Oh no, that he's
Okay.
never gonna. Yeah, okay.
So Gilbert just completely dies. I'm talking about Rascals never had people walk out of the audience, like never. Gilbert's there. There's 40 to 50 to 60 people walking out in droves.
Yeah.
So I go to Mark. I go, hey, Mark, can we change this around? He's like, no, he signed with William Morris. You know, his contract steady, headlines. I'm just looking out for the club.
Right.
Okay, this ain't going good.
Right.
Okay. So the second night, same thing. I go, hey, Mark, I don't want to piss you off, but can we... You don't want to piss me off. You just pissed me off, okay? You can't do it. Ooh, okay. Next show, same thing. Mark calls and says, what do you want to do? I said, I got to switch this around. To save one show, I got to switch it around. So it's Billy, right? I go up to Billy Guerin and I go, Billy, I'm going to headline your next show. He goes, Danny, I only got like 30 minutes. I go, Billy, just breathe every once in a while.
No,
You'll get to 40.
He talks really fast.
Just breathe. And now at the same time, he has to worry that Gilbert's going to have the greatest set of his life at that point.
Yeah.
But no,
right,
it
'cause
worked
he
out
didn't.
fine. Another time was...
Yeah, because Billy Guerin is very. I mean, you don't want to follow Billy.
He's
Guerin.
terrific.
Another time
He's
I had
really
to change.
funny.
A guy
He
named Marty
flashes
Polio.
his wig
He takes
in
his
his
wig
show.
off. He
Oh, yeah.
dances. Back
Oh,
then,
yeah.
he used
Yeah.
to do the frog from Warner Brothers. Remember that dance?
He used to
Hello,
say to me, Bill, he used to go up to me and go, McKenna, if I had your hair, I'd have a game show host by now. But we changed Marty Polio. Remember that name at all?
No.
Do you? Marty Polio comes in, and he's going to be a juggler, a magician, a comic. He can't fucking. He can't. After
eats it.
After the juggling's over, that's it.
Was he in a wheelchair?
And Tim Allen is the middle.
Tim
Okay?
Allen.
Tim Allen
And I'm
was the
sure
middle.
he's killing, right? Tim
Tim
Allen.
was only doing okay.
Oh, really?
He got brought into Rascals in the middle, so way
Is this
before
before
anybody
he was
knew him.
famous?
Right. So I tell Tim, I says, you think you could headline the next show? And basically, I didn't give him a choice. It was more like, you have to.
Yeah,
man.
this
This
guy
guy
sucks.
can't do anything.
Yeah.
And Tim did very well. Rick Overton and Rocky Laporte, we had to switch one night. And the funny thing was,
Why? Who got switched? Who went where?
no, what happened was Overton came in and said he was been asked to do the comedy relief.
Right.
And if he could get out of there early on Friday night.
Oh, because Rick
Let
Overton is
him
very
min-
funny.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
But if you get out of there early on Friday night, and leave, and Rocky headline, Rocky was a little against it, but they both agreed, well, we'll change the money too.
Right.
Okay? And at the same time, Rocky got to realize, what if he has the greatest fucking set? Overton could kill. The very first show he didn't as a headliner.
Yeah.
Rocky did fine, okay? So we think it's all over with. Overton comes in on Saturday and says, they want me back. They want me back in comic relief. Can you do the same thing? The look on Rocky's face is like,
Yeah, you're
I don't
stuck.
wanna, but the money was changed. Now, another time, Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, I want to ask you about Mitch Hedberg. I fucking
Wait, he died.
Mitch
he's
Hedberg
dying.
is in my top 5 comics of all. I think that guy was just fucking brilliant.
But he's like a Gilbert. You have to take a liking to him. Okay, he's dying at Rascals.
He's
okay?
dying at Rascals.
He's dying. Okay?
I saw him die at the was it Governor? Yeah, at Governor's one night, and he's so funny.
He was
You
dying.
either get it or you don't.
And so I go up to. This is so funny though. He dies for like 3 shows, and I forget who the middle was that I wanted to switch. But I remember going back to Mitch, and I go, "Hey, Mitch," I says, "How do you feel about me changing the show around? You're just going to go in the middle." I knew it would work that way.
Yeah.
And that's all it was about. Okay.
Yeah. Just
know,
making the show work.
In a way, to me, it's like you guys were on my entrees. You be the menu. Okay.
Had he done Letterman at that point?
His name was famous.
Oh, so he
we
was
packed
famous.
him in,
Okay.
So
but
what'd he say?
New Jersey, I only knew my room.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what governors, what kind of clientele they brought in.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I knew my room. They wanted to have it shoved down their throat. I mean, I
Right.
can remember Frankie Pace one time. He's working so slow. I had to go up to him and go, "Hey, Frankie, could you pick up the pace? Because this is Jersey, man. Let's fucking go."
It is, Jersey and Long Island are very similar kind of audiences.
I love them.
That's why, that's why you have to kind of hammer them, and go fast.
So I says to Hedberg, I go, "I want to switch the show around, okay?" And I didn't really care what he had to say because I didn't like the fact that he just blew 3 shows.
Yeah, okay.
He just blew 3 shows.
Was it because
So-
he was high or because he was?
Was he
No,
okay?
you know
Was
what
he
it was?
okay?
It was just that kind of long-haired hippie freak from the 70s doing this material, and people in Jersey were just like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I don't even
thought
think
he
it was
was so
material. It
brilliant.
was more or less his look
Yeah.
and his attitude about his jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said to him, I says, "Wonder if you want to switch?" And the guy goes, "Well, that's okay with me, but I want the money to stay the same." I said, "Fuck you. You're headlining next show.
Really?
You can die up there if you want. Just fucking go up there and die again. I don't care. You want the money to be the same. No, I'm going to switch the money to the guy that deserves it."
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Danny
yeah.
was being nice, as usual.
Yes.
Wow.
You deserve it.
I thought he was so funny, and whenever I listen to him on, I just think, I'm like, this is one of the funniest fucking guys around, I can't
All right,
believe it.
people want to know your fucking stupid Jerry Seinfeld story.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I love Carrie. I mean, just such a sweetheart.
Go ahead.
I once, probably around 19, you don't remember this, but I do.
was only in
in
fourth
the
grade.
90s. I once was backstage and said something pretty stupid to Carrie.
What'd you
Remember
say?
your drinking days? I do. And I look
Carrie
at
used to
I look
drink?
at Carrie like this. This is how you handle asshole comics. I go, "So Carrie, you're drinking tonight, huh?" And Carrie looks at me like this. "Ew, are you fucking kidding me?" And I just went. I wasn't officially coming on to you, but
You're making a joke.
I was making a joke, but she made me like, "Oh, you're fucking kidding me!" Like what? And I remember that to this day. Talk about putting a guy down.
One of the funniest
Carrie's
things
good
I
at
did,
it.
Oh,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah,
funny
yeah.
things he did,
Oh, yeah.
I was drinking at a Christmas party, and I was outside. I don't remember what we were talking. It was me,
A bunch of
Keith
guys.
Anthony, all the guys were outside. They were smoking or whatever, Eric Kraft. And all of a sudden, Peter Bales comes barreling at the door, unbuckling his belt. He goes, "Hey, I heard Gary Kravis is drunk." He's undoing his pants. It was hilarious.
And like all comedy, based in truth. So I started here. It must have been 1979. and
What do you
the-
mean here?
Here,
Comic
comic
strip.
strip.
Oh, the comic
We're at
strip.
the
Yeah,
comic
yeah.
strip.
Yes, yes.
And back then, that was even
Yeah,
that was
your
before
picture is
Lucian.
underneath
That
one
was
of the new comedians.
yeah.
If you
I was
peel
skinny.
back-
I was
Blonde? You were
blonde. I was
back
blonde, and
then?
not they call me the Silver Fox now. I guess
Who would that be?
The nursing home.
actually nobody, but I'm trying to start it. So he passed me through the audition. It was real nice. So I used to go on, not on the schedule, but late. We would go. They kept the club open to develop acts. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Here, I know.
Yeah, I was happy to go up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I go up, and there's 4 people sitting in the back, and they're not drinking. So the waitress is not in the room, and I go up on stage. The lights are in my eyes. And I'm not getting any laughs, but I suck, and I wouldn't expect laughs. I just go through my act. And I didn't see, because the lights were in my eyes, that the 4 people got up and left the room. It was an empty room, no waitress, no audience, me doing my act. And Seinfeld looks through this window,
So
and he
sad.
sees me. He
Oh.
sees me doing my act and nobody, and I will never forget this. He walks down the aisle to the side of the stage, turns to me and goes, "Hey, man, there's nobody here." And I just went, "Oh,
Oh my
thanks." And I
God.
slinked off stage. I mean, I know people talk about performing for 2 people, 4 people. I perform for nobody.
You know,
That
at
is the saddest
Dangerfields, they have
Sad.
that policy. If there's one person, you have to
Oh
perform.
yeah, that's right. They do.
So one
Yeah.
night, Tom Carter's on stage, and there's one guy, one Texan, and Tom's doing his act, and all of a sudden the guy gets up and he goes to the bathroom. He goes, "The guy just took a piss in the middle of my set. What do I do?" They're like, keep going. You gotta wait." So he waited. The guy came back. He went on. Well, one night, I don't remember what comedian it was. It might have been Carter again. Nancy Redmond's on stage, and all of a sudden he's late. So we go to him. When he comes in, there was no one. It was like a snowstorm. There was no one in the showroom, and he comes in. We're like, "Hurry up! You're fucking late. Go!" So you can't see with those bright lights, and he's up there doing his act, and it's me and Norton, Jim Norton, in the back of the room. We're sitting there, we're like laughing like we're. So he's doing about 10 minutes, and then finally he goes like this. He goes, "Wait a minute." He looks at them. "You fucking assholes!" And he gets up and fucking leaves. It was hilarious.
You know Joey Diaz?
No.
You know
Yeah.
him? He's from
Yeah.
California now, but he's originally Bergen County. And Joe Rogan's working with us. And I actually hate any guy that got famous used to always pick their opener.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it because a lot of times they weren't funny. The guy's just doing it as his friend. And I
Or
used
they
to tell
drive
Or
them.
they
Or
drive
they're
'em.
driving. They
Manny,
get the
tugboat
drugs.
Manny.
How about drugs?
No, it wasn't even like that, you know? But I used to hate that. But anyway, Rogan's working there, and he picks Joey Diaz to be his opening act. I had never met Joey whatsoever, but that doesn't bother me, right? So it's a Friday night, and all of a sudden I realize it's getting to showtime, and Joey Diaz, Rogan's there, but
Yeah.
Joey Diaz isn't. And I don't know the guy, okay? So I get a phone call. They say, Joey Diaz is on the phone. "Yeah, Joey, what's up?" He says, "I'm running kind of late." I
He's
said,
the opener?
He's the opener,
Oh,
right?
God.
Friends of Rogan from California. I says, "How late?" He goes, "I'm still in Vegas."
Oh my God!
So I'm like,
You shit me?
no, it was the funniest, and I dealt a lot with comics who were going to be late and call me and stuff like that. Knew how to stall, knew how to do all that. He goes, "I'm still in Vegas," and I'm semi-cracking up, and I'm like, he goes, "Listen, I'm getting on the red eye white right now." He says, "I'll make it for the second show." I go, "Joey, don't even try to make it for the second show. Just do me a favor, get to the hotel room. I'll see you tomorrow night." Okay? So I had
Now,
to
who'd
call.
you call?
Who was it? Was a Iranian guy that used to put the dynamite around his waist.
Oh
to do-
yeah.
who was that?
Oh
yeah,
yes.
it was really
yes.
funny.
He
He
was
was a good
no,
guy.
he-
was a good guy.
He was supposed to go to work at the Trade Center that day when they came down, and something happened.
If I heard his name, I would know it.
It's not Tim Hamiyun.
No,
That's
no.
a different
And
Iranian.
somehow he went back.
No,
His
but
name was.
I found him.
Tim is Pakistani, but it's all the same thing, Patty.
Tim Hamiyun is Pakistani? I thought he was Iranian.
No, he's the wacky packy.
He's a wacky.
So he was from Jersey City.
Yeah,
the
he
guy
was a
that-
nice guy.
And I got him on the phone, and he goes, "I'm on my way." So he made it there in time, and he did both shows. So the next night, I'm thinking, no big deal, because I was on the phone with Diaz. He told me he's flying in tonight. Well, the next night, all of a sudden, I realized, I go, I haven't seen Joey Diaz yet. Never showed up. I had to
Even
pull
the
it-
next night?
Even the next night, never showed
That
up.
guy was like on drugs or
So-
something.
No, he's a good guy. And so I had to call the guy from Jersey City again, you know, and he's like, I said, "You going to make it here in time?" He goes, "Danny, I'm running to my car as I'm talking to you." So he makes it, and 6 months later, Rogan's there again, and it's Joey Diaz again. And
Oh,
Joey
man.
Diaz walks in the room. He goes, "Hey, bro, I got to tell you, I want to fuck Joey. I don't give a fuck anymore." Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's the story.
That's terrible.
Dean Obidala.
No.
Now, who was it? I remember
Hood.
him wearing
Hood.
that.
Yes, Hood.
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 Yep,
Hood.
That's him.
Hood.
Hood.
Yeah.
Hood
Good
was
guy.
his first name
Good
or his
guy.
last name?
That's what he went by, and he was hysterically funny. Good
Not
guy.
Dean Obidala.
I
I had a-
can't.
I had
I
a-
can't even remember. Do you remember with one of my favorites? I used to work at your club all the time. Was Kevin Meaney. I think I told
Okay.
this one maybe once before. But do you remember this? I don't know if you remember this, but some girl. I was the middle. He went on at the end, and there was a drunk girl in the audience in the front, and she's going, "You suck," and he was never good with hecklers because he's used to people loving him, and he does all his little songs, and it doesn't work when he's angry because he's got the bow tie.
Did you pour a glass
he's
with-
singing.
did you pour a drink on her?
Well, no, I think that was that one might have happened that
Okay,
time.
go ahead.
He like acted like he spilled a drink. She's like, "Fuck you, yeah. What are you doing with the drink?" And he's just like going, "Look, I'm not doing anything." But he couldn't. Because no matter what he did,
Yeah.
she would go, wah,
I
wah.
remember that.
And
Oh,
it was
I hate
so,
that.
and he was getting angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
And then
Next.
So then she goes, bye. He goes, I have to go now. She goes, good riddance. Like everything. And she had been totally nice to me. I guess she didn't like guys or whatever. So I am having the set, and then he goes, and he's the funniest guy around. So anyway, he's walking off. Then everyone's applauding. He walks off, and he falls on top of her and knocks her table and chair over. and he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And you had to go over. And he's walking in the back, and I go, oh, my God, are you all right? Did you hurt yourself? I go, what did you do? You tripped? Or he goes, oh, no, I just fell right on fucking top of her. He goes, I'm not going to let that bitch talk to me. Ruined my set. And he was fat then. And he fucking barreled right on top of this bitch and knocked her on the floor.
Adrian Tulst did that one night. Adrian Tulst, guy's giving her shit,
Yeah.
And she walks off those little 2 stairs down the stairs, and the tables are right there, and something happens. The guy comes running to me and says, she poured a drink on me. She poured a drink on me. I go up to Adrian, I go, Adrian, did you spill a drink on a guy? Yeah.
Adrian Tulst was the first person nice
She
to me
was
in
great,
comedy who
man.
was established.
She was great.
such
You
a
did the
nice
Babes
person.
Back
I
in
did the Babes. I was
1902.
on the Babes in Orange show with her and
It was a lot of different. It was
Angela
always
Scott.
Lansbury.
Linda Smith did a lot.
Yep, it would rotate, but
Yeah.
she did ask me to do it, and it was
Come into Rascals
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
He said something to me really profound. You ready for this?
yes.
He would go in there to test out new material. He gets off stage and he goes, they laugh at everything I say. How do I know what's funny?
Yeah.
Because when you're
Pretty much.
famous,
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
do.
true.
Yeah.
They do laugh at
What'd
everything.
you
How can
say?
you judge? I said.
Come take your comedy class.
Yes, I actually said, you should stay at Nassau Community College because there's no future for
Well,
you.
the first time he came in,
He was my idol.
The very first
Now
time he
that
came
was
in,
my
he
idol.
didn't come in to do time. He came in to let a friend of his do time there. His friend hadn't been able to work at Rascals.
Wait, is this before he was famous or
No,
after?
Eddie's famous as can be.
Oh, okay.
And
He
he
was
hadn't done
so
stand-up.
funny.
He hadn't done stand-up in a while.
So fucking
So what
funny.
happens? He makes a call and says, "Can he come down and do some time?" What are we gonna say? No.
Right.
For Christ's sakes, yeah, come on down and do some time. I remember we had to bump Dice one night to let him go up.
Really? Oh, he must have loved that.
Dice was sitting upstairs at the
Pissed.
bar,
Oh,
pissed.
wow.
And I'm thinking, buddy, you're getting the same amount of money and you don't have to work. I'm sorry,
but
in my
it's-
world, that's good.
It's for your ego. That's a big.
And with
So-
Eddie Murphy, go ahead. I mean, Carrie will have every these famous acts. There's always a story that you have that involves sex.
No.
Yeah,
but I
or
do. I love.
Almost having sex.
He was one of my idols, Eddie Murphy. I loved his stand-up. Delirious
You
was
should.
one of the best.
You should.
best,
But at
best.
that first time he came in, though, he basically used Rascals just to get his friend on stage. And I think his friend...
So you thought he was going on stage and the friend was going on stage?
Yeah, basically Eddie went up on stage. It was basically a 3-man show. We kind of waited for the show was to be over. Eddie's sitting out in the room. They introduce him. Eddie just goes up and says hi for about 2 or 3 minutes and says, I want to bring up my friend. I want my
my
friend...
Midnight show over there.
Who's that?
Kind of a real racist place.
comic.
Paul Mooney.
Oh, Paul
Yeah,
Mooney.
I-
Paul Mooney.
I'm
hates white people.
I'm not sure
He
if
does,
it was
he
Paul.
does.
He hates white people, but he's
But
funny.
But I remember,
He's
I
very,
think Paul
very
had a problem
funny.
getting into Rascals, and Eddie wanted to make sure that we saw him.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it was Paul.
Yeah.
But what happened was, how's Paul going to get off stage now?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
everybody knows Eddie Murphy's in the realm.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
he's got to bring Eddie Murphy back up.
Yeah,
there.
but Paul Mooney's fucking hilarious.
He's really funny. Did he do well?
Not to 400 white
to
people.
white
though.
people, though, I don't know.
Well, no,
Paul
he's-
Mooney is really, really funny,
no,
but he's
he's-
the only comic I ever opened for who wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know,
are the white devil.
I
yeah,
am the
you
white
are
devil.
the white devil. I know. That's my problem.
No,
with
he
him. It's
liked
like,
me.
So when Eddie
He
went
was
back
always
up
nice to
there,
me.
because you
after
wore
that,
midriffs.
Carrie,
when Eddie went back up
Carrie.
there, he wound up having to do some time because the audience just made him, you know.
Yeah.
And he walked off, and he passed me by in the hallway. He went, that was fun. He hadn't done stand-up in a while, and he went, that was fun.
I don't know why
so
you
like
stopped doing it.
About
That
2
was
weeks
stupid.
later, he calls us again. So it happened like about 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
over the course of 6 months.
Yeah.
So now the club is known for Eddie Murphy could stop in any day. of the
Eddie
week.
Murphy
Oh, yeah, yeah.
was talented. I worked with him in Staten Island before he was famous. He was not famous.
Grandpa's?
No, it was no.
Circles.
That was a club
Circles.
called-
I know,
There
I
was.
remember.
It was a Staten
what was the
Island
guy's
room,
name that ran it?
and it was all.
Paulie.
No, not another one.
The Circles one? I can't remember.
Oh,
Yeah, the guy.
Circles?
It's either
Oh.
Tony,
Grandpa?
Paulie, or
Grandpa's
Joey.
was
It was
Augie.
Augie,
Yeah,
Augie,
Augie
yeah.
and Paulie. The two
So
brothers.
it's a white Staten Island, mostly Italian audience that's not going to be welcoming to an African American comedian.
Right, of course.
He
yes.
goes up, and it's silence for about 5 minutes, and I saw this with my own eyes. He starts to get him. He starts to get him more. He gets really high energy. He goes crazy. Standing ovation at the end, and it was not because he was famous. It was because he was genuinely talented. And I go back
Take
in
that,
those
Jerry
days.
Seinfeld.
Back in those days, deliberately fall asleep in the back of the car so he wouldn't chip in 60 cents for the toll.
Are you shitting?
I'm
Well, there's
kidding.
also a story about the shoes that he wore.
What are the shoes he wore?
He worked at a shoe shop during the day, and he'd take a brand new pair of shoes with him to go on stage that night. And
Oh, and then he'd return them after he was
next
done.
day.
Yes.
It was,
Oh, my
it was a
God.
different pair every night.
Well, Richie Tinkin at the comic strip here, he was his manager at the height of his heyday with all his movies and all that stuff. And Richie always tells the story that he's the one who picked out the red leather suit for him
Okay.
and that famous, and
Well,
his,
King Broder was also his first manager.
he had to pay him $1 million.
Yes, no,
Yes.
100,000.
I got a
actually.
Oh, it was $100,000.
You know Jeff Norris, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Jeff.
yeah, I love Jeff Norris. What he did.
When he first started working at Rascals, and he's coming along the ropes and he's doing well, but he's emceeing, and in the middle, basically I only wanted 5 to 7 minutes in the middle. That's all I freaking ever needed, And he's doing like 15. I keep on telling him, I don't want this 15 from you, okay? And he keeps on doing it, So he's working with John Fox, okay? So there's one night he does 15 in the middle again. So I go over to Fox. I go, Fox, do me a favor. When you walk up on the stage and take the microphone up from him, whisper in his ear, Danny's really pissed at you. and it's so funny just
Fuck
to
up
see
his whole
Fox.
night.
Fox has to go up there and entertain, but before he's going to entertain, by the way, Danny's really pissed at you. Right? So he comes over and he sits at the end of the bar. Now, Norris is pretty scared at this point because he's just starting. He thinks that he fucked the gig up at Rascals,
Yeah.
Man, that was a.
That would be
Right.
bad.
That would be
You
bad.
wanted that
That was
gig.
a great
he
gig.
So normally he'd always went straight to the green room, but because Fox says this to him, he's sitting at the end of the bar, too scared to come to the green room. Right? So I come walking out of the kitchen. I stand there with my arms folded, just pure acting,
Yeah.
just standing around looking at the audience like this. And I turn to
You were you were very
I love
threatening.
to threaten them.
You were very threatening.
Yeah, it was the posture.
I was always nervous when
You had
Danny
to.
was.
You had to.
It was. I was
So
always nervous.
So I turn
He
over.
meant business, Danny.
I turn over to Norris. He's sitting at the end of the bar. I just give him one of these.
Yeah.
Right? Now I do a beeline right over to him. I'm walking over to him as fast as I possibly can, right? And I put my arm around him. I put my mouth up to his ear. I went, Fox is just fucking with you.
Yeah.
And we walked
Danny's
away.
the only person in comedy I ever called sir. That's how scared I was of
Somebody
Danny.
said
Oh.
you are. Peter Bales is the Newman of our time.
Newman!
You know,
I think
that's
that's an
hurtful.
insult.
That is an
That's
insult.
That's not true.
That's an
That's
insult.
not.
I'll tell you.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Newhart.
Oh, no! That's a big difference.
Oh my God, that is complete.
Thanks a lot.
He is Newhart.
You
Newhart.
wanted, you wanted to hurt
Newhart.
me.
No, well, I saw it quick, and it's very small. These dollar store glass.
You need a stronger glass.
Truthfully,
God,
whenever
that's so
Bales was on
funny.
a show with me, I felt calm and relaxed. I used to hire him for any major act that we had coming in.
Oh, it was
All right,
it was
so you
amazing.
tell me this then, if you know him that well. Did he really fuck Barbara Eden?
Now, that's something we're not going to talk about, and no.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
just,
we
no,
can't
we're not
talk-
talking. No, no,
Can't
no, no.
talk
I
about
know.
it.
Can't talk
No,
about
I
it.
didn't. No, no, no.
Methinks he doth protest too much. No.
Now,
Actually, it was Barbara Felden.
Yes.
No, no.
99,
99.
She was hot.
She
Of
was
course.
sexy.
Johnny Huff has a great line. I
Look how quickly he changes the
I,
subject.
I jerked off to 99 100 times.
Okay, let me see if
No,
I got
that's
any
not-
other
that's
questions
not
for
Johnny
you
Huff. I love
guys.
Johnny
Who
Huff.
else? What else? Who else do I want to know
How much
about?
time are we on, Adam?
Otto and George.
Otto and George.
Oh,
Oh,
my
my
God.
God.
We're too long.
We're too
Okay,
long.
just tell an Otto and George story, and then we got to
Yeah,
go.
a quick Otto and George story.
I didn't get to. Can we plug
Yeah, I
Stand
don't
Up
really have-
University?
We're going
in
to
my
stand up
comedy
shit
club?
at the end. At the end, we
You
do
plug
that.
stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to plug stuff. Calm
Okay.
down.
Shuff.
Even though you won't give us your best story. Go ahead.
No, I don't. Yeah.
An hour 40 into the show.
Why are we
Did
this
you
long?
fuck Barbie Eden? An hour 40 in.
I had to know.
You had to be warmed up.
No, I gave Major Healy a hand job.
All right.
I'll tell the answer after the show's over. Okay.
Okay.
No.
Go.
No.
We'll tell it on
No,
next week's
no.
show. I'm
Oh my
kidding.
God! Look,
When,
I have Jeff Norris's card right
Oh my
here.
God, you do.
When
Okay, Otto and George, who I think is hysterical.
no, he was great. He was.
Okay.
We never booked him at Rascals
Why?
because.
Oh, because he would walk off the stage.
No,
Yeah.
we've heard stories that he didn't show up sometimes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So when I wound up using him on a Wednesday night, he absolutely just blew the room away, and then
Yeah.
we had a great rapport with him ever since.
Yeah, and
you
then would he
know?
work there again after that?
He worked plenty of times
yeah,
there
yeah.
again. Yeah.
You would have to pick him up, drive through the Fordham Road in the Bronx, almost get killed, wait
Yes.
15 minutes for him. You're like, oh my God.
What
Is
was
he
really
coming
funny?
back? Is he
yeah,
coming
yeah,
back?
After Rascals, I was running this strip mall restaurant. Peter was there.
I was
one
there,
night.
yeah.
It's like a 50-seater. You know, it's
Right.
nothing at all.
Right.
But the owner loved Otto, so I hired him, and I have a sound system and stage, everything like that. I know what I'm doing. So I
Right.
bring him in. And, you know, Otto will always go after the manager of the room or the owner of
Oh,
the
yeah,
room
he
all
loved
the time.
that.
Right. So I'm going, I know he's going to do something, right? So I introduce him, and he gets on stage with his puppy. He's like, look at Danny. Used to run one of the #1 comedy clubs in the country. Now he's running a pizzeria.
That's
You know, the most
hilarious.
famous
He was
Otto
so-
and George story is that he used to work the street with his
Yes,
dummy being
yes.
an insult dummy, and somebody got mad and stabbed the dummy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he got like 30 or 40 stitches in his hand.
Yeah, he did. And but imagine transferring that to the actual.
Somebody stabbed John Ferrantino on stage
For
at
what?
Rascals.
For what?
Well, that was because of his act, probably.
Because there was some
It was
spooky
actually me
stuff
that did it.
inside.
not funny.
No, there was
He
spooky
used-
stuff inside.
I see something. What spooky stuff?
Who did that?
John Ferrantino.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the thing about Otto and George is they were springtime for Hitler. To me, Otto and George was the most complicated comedy there is, which is he was so
what do you mean
bad.
it's springtime for Hitler?
He was so bad, he was good.
Right.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that, like the producers, like Mel Brooks and Springtime for Hitler.
Well, for
that's
starters,
how
most
brilliant. That's how
ventriloquists
brilliant
don't
he
move their
was.
mouths.
He was so bad, he was good. He used to make audience members cry.
Oh, yeah.
Asian woman down front. Are you a Jap or a chink? I don't even think you people know the difference.
Pussy.
Wait, but how about the
he didn't ma-
puppet would like he was the puppet was so real that you didn't even look at him whether he was moving his mouth or not. If something dropped in the corner of the room, the puppet he saw every action that was going on in
Trust
that
me,
room.
when the puppet used to like just be in the green room sitting there, I made sure I said hello to him because I was afraid of
Yeah,
the
that's
puppet.
weird. Yeah,
How you doing, George? Everything
that
all
was a
right?
scary puppet.
That puppet was scared. When I had a radio show many years ago, and he came on the radio show, and it's just morning radio. You don't need to bring your puppet because it's radio. Nobody sees the puppet,
That's
but he
funny.
sits the fucking puppet in between me and the asshole I was working with, and would work the puppet while he's doing it.
But
when
I
really
could
all
see
he
how
had to
that
do
would
was
help him think, though.
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
Because
You
it's
want to hear
another
something
brain.
crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got time for something crazy?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Not only deal with comics at the club, but they used to call my house.
What do you mean
okay?
they call your house?
They call my house and leave me crazy messages. Okay.
I
Like,
got
what
some
kind of
good ones
messages?
too on that on
So,
one of those.
you-
Messages like, "Do you have an 8-ball?"
Well, no. Fox used to always call to have me wire him money. Okay, and I used to always wire him money, but I'd get paid back because he's coming into Rascals, and I take the money out of his pay. The running joke was the only reason Fox borrowed money from me was to guarantee himself a spot at Rascals because I had to get
Bring
him
him
in there to
back.
spend
And
money.
Mitchell Walters,
But I
too.
used
Yes.
to always tell him, hey, listen, if you're not going to tell me something funny, okay,
He's gotta do 4 more
this
half
this on
games.
tape
Yeah.
here is John Fox, okay?
Oh,
It's
you're playing this?
If I can.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's his,
Do we have
it's
time?
his-
Well,
Adam.
quick.
Do it
How-
quick. Adam's got to go.
It's his balls and his asshole.
What do you mean his balls in his
It's his
asshole?
balls and his asshole having a conversation
Okay,
to me. Okay.
This is from your phone.
Hi, Danny. This is John Smelly, Stinky, Crusty Balls calling you. At his asshole. Shut up. That was his asshole. Anyway, listen, John's sleeping right now. But we called because we really miss your licking and your slobber all over us. So John's a little embarrassed about calling you for phone sex. And he thinks that time he farted in your face and you liked it. Was my fault. Shut up, butt Okay, this is his hairy balls again. asshole wants to say something. Huh? Oh, that's gross. John's waking up. Listen, hey, what are you guys doing? Who's on the phone? It's Danny. Danny who? Huh? Danny McKenna? That midget homo? Come here.
Trust me, I got a dozen
All right,
of those on there
listen.
from people.
But the thing about him is, John Fox, when I worked with him, you wouldn't let him drink. They wouldn't let him drink before he went on stage because he would get so shit-faced on stage. And they're like, no drinks you get, and you would let him have one in between the first and the second show. And he's all fucked up, and it was Drew came back, and Drew's looking at him, and he's talking to me. He goes, "You're fucked up, aren't you?" He goes, No, I'm good. He goes, I didn't have one drink. He goes, "You're doing coke, aren't you? You're doing blow. I can see it. You're doing blow." And he's like, But like, even if he wasn't allowed to have the liquor, he would still get the drugs, you know, and he would be so fucked up.
The best thing what happened was one time, I wouldn't allow him to drink. He wanted to drink. He needed a shot and a beer right before he went
That's
up.
what he wanted, yes.
And that's okay. I would allow him to do that.
Yeah.
So nobody in the building would give the guy a drink.
Yeah.
So one time I'm in the office and I'm doing paperwork and stuff. And he's like, "Come on, man, you got to get me a drink. I'm on in 5 minutes.
I remember him
I'm
saying
on."
that. He was crazy.
So he goes, "I'm on." I went, "Just tell the bartender, to get a drink now." He goes, "They won't give it to me unless you come out there and say to give it to him." So I took a piece of paper and I wrote, "John Fox can have a drink," and I signed my name.
Oh, my God.
He went to the copy machine and he copied it like 10
That
times.
was
He's so crazy.
All right, we got to go.
All right, we got to go.
Pleasure.
But
It
we
was a
do want to
pleasure.
say thank you for coming out on a day that they almost bombed the city.
You know what? I'm so thankful that
nobody got hurt.
That nobody
that
got
he
hurt.
blew himself up.
Well, he's still alive.
Wow. Anyway, and young guy too, 27.
And from
Stupid.
Bangladesh. Was
Yep.
it Bangladesh?
One of those
Bangladesh.
countries.
So thank you, Peter Bales, for driving.
My pleasure.
Into the city, even though a bomb could have gone off.
No, this was great. When I heard Danny was going to be on this show, we did the dating game. I thought it was going to last a month. It lasted like 8 years.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the dating.
That's
game
right.
at Rascals.
John, yes,
Yeah,
I remember
that was a classic.
And then they took it all over to governors and everywhere.
I took it everywhere.
But
What do you
where
have
are you,
to-
Where
yeah.
do you have?
I want to
plug.
Plug.
If you want to study
Not his
stand-up
hair.
comedy,
That's real.
That's real hair. Stand-up comedy classes on Long Island at the Brokerage Comedy Club. StandUpU.com.
It's with Rich Walker and Steve Lazarus. Very good class.
My two friends.
Yes.
Very good class.
And
Very good class.
we set up punchline, classy comedy. None of that stuff you heard on the tape.
No fart jokes?
Seinfeldian.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
But we work in the first person, not necessarily observations. It's a great class. Check it out.
It is a great class.
It is, yes. Carrie?
I'm going to do a Eric Half gig on Tuesday.
Where?
I don't know.
Have no idea. All right.
It's somewhere.
And Patty here.
And I'm having my holiday party this weekend, so if you haven't RSVP'd, you better RSVP.
All right. I am going to be at Broadway Comedy Club on Saturday, and I am going to be at the Brokerage in Long Island on New Year's Eve. Please buy your tickets. I want to sell out.
You will.
Two shows that night. So
You are fucking.
Let's,
She's
let's
hilarious.
go. It's going to be
I
so
know.
fucking fun. I love Long Island.
Who's headlining that gig?
So, where are you going to be
Where are you
tonight?
going to be,
I'll
Danny?
be working at a restaurant.
All right, great.
Hey,
Thank you for watching.
Adam Henniker from
The
is
Rec
our
Room.
producer, director.
Thank you, Adam.
Sound man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
From the
seriously.
Rec Room.
From
We're
the
here
Rec
live
Room.
at the Comic Strip every Monday night.
Jeannie, by the way, was watching our show, who is the owner, and she wanted me to move my head to show the Christmas tree behind me. There we go, the Christmas tree.
Great job.
This
Jeannie,
is the
beautiful.
house that Seinfeld built.
Peaches says hello.
Might be Eddie Murphy.
Hey, and
oh,
don't-
Peaches,
and
who
Jeff
we love,
Norris,
your wife.
Jeff Norris
wife.
just joined us.
Well,
but,
we were talking about you. Too late.
Yes. Okay.
And
That's-
don't forget to subscribe to the
iTunes.
like the Chick Chat Facebook
Page.
page. Because
Like
that's
it.
where we're streaming now. So if you were tagged on Peter's or Danny's,
Yeah, like
or
our page.
Patty's,
Go to
Please, we have a great show.
just
We have
like
the best-
Like the page.
the Chick Chat page, so that you can see future broadcasts.
And like our tweets, because I have like 2 followers on Twitter.
I have a few more than
You
that.
have
what
more
my
than
Twitter-
me.
Wait,
you have
so
6.
She asked
like
me what my
our,
Twitter name was the other day. I was like,
Subscribe to our iTunes channel.
iTunes,
It's
yes.
Chick Chat. There's 2 Chick Chats.
It's
the cool
Chick-
one, which is us.
We're Chick
And
Chat
then some other
Comedy.
girls.
So you got to type in Chick Chat Comedy and then Space Podcast.
Just look for the picture of
the
Patty
picture
and
of me and
Carrie.
Carrie. That's
It's
it.
pink.
That's it. That's us.
It's pink and blue. All right.
Subscribe.
Merry Christmas. We're not going to be here for 2
Yeah,
weeks.
we won't be here for 2 weeks. Merry Christmas.
After-
It's
we're coming
been
in
my
after New
pleasure to
Year's.
work with the three of these people for 30 years,
Love
basically.
you,
and
Danny.
True survivors that are sticking
That's
around.
right. That's
you were
right.
Unbelievable.
You're the best
you know?
manager in such a great club.
You
We
were.
all loved you. You're the greatest.
I'm not dying, for Christ's sake.
just in case you do, I have
love
to
you.
have said
Well,
it.
thank you.
And we're saying to Peter Bales, we love you also.
Everybody's saying bring Danny back. We will definitely bring Danny back because
said
he's got
that?
1,010 stories.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
Yes, he does.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you,
Good night,
Peter Bales.
everybody.
Good night. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
That was
that
fun.
was